E-Gaming Bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
Do you have extra CSGO skins? Do you want to win really cool things? Visit CSGOFast.com. Place your bets and win really cool skins. CSGOFast.com. Check your fortune.
Thanks, man.
A lot of Chinese fans here. So
some behind-the-scenes footage from yesterday's action. Group A, done and dusted. We saw the decider match come up a little bit later tonight, but the first seed, Luminosity, they finally beat Na'Vi. Today, however, we do switch gears, and quite substantially, as we move into the group of death, a stacked Group B, non-reseeded. Originally had Method, now has EnVyUs, who's filling in for them, and that's quite a big upgrade. Alongside me to start off, Henry, I haven't cued you yet. Why are you talking already?
Just
Don't
kind
get
of,
Thorn
just kind of
Shields,
playing off the
Maniac,
banter.
and some guy, and more denim today.
More
have to
denim. I
say.
promised you more denim after your comments yesterday, so you've got it.
That's actually what I was secretly hoping for with that comment, so it worked.
When you say it's a group of death, though, usually a group of death should be like every team are just killers. They can all beat each other. This is the group of Titans death. And the Org's already dead, so we thought, you know what, let's just metaphorically send them out dead
so
as
sure.
an actual team as well.
I'm kind of believing now since they've actually left the Titan Org.
Of
It
course.
seems like...
Or the Titan Org left them in some ways.
Of course.
Maybe Henry knows that they just played like a local French LAN, so they're coming in hot off that, obviously. Sadicist logic there.
All right, I'm going to cut you off there. We're going to look at the bracket first. We'll come back to this. So in some ways, they're ex-Titan. Apparently, they're playing under the name Kappa today, but it's question mark versus question mark. Now, these two games today, it's a little bit different schedule. They're simultaneous, so we'll preview both games on the desk right now. The Titan versus XTSM match will be on Star Ladder 11, and Fnatic and EnVyUs will lead into that. That'll be on this stream right here. Winner match, of course, just like yesterday, as well as the loser matches, and then we've got the deciders, the seeding games from yesterday, which in some ways are kind of redundant, but it does give us a clear indication of who the number 2 and number 3 are.
To be fair, though, I mean, they are still a good team. Listen, I'm here all week, guys.
We're starting off well. I like it.
It's not your best work yet. It's warming up. We're still warming up. It's fine.
I mean, I still haven't found out what his best work is. I've just kind of accepted it all as the same. But let's talk about that storyline
All top
first.
quality. Yeah, you can't even differentiate.
Let's talk about that.
You know what your
storyline
best
first.
work was?
Nothing. Never.
No.
Yeah.
Thought not.
Probably when I was caught spacing out at DreamHack London. That was the most fitting of my work, I think. Let's talk about it. Maniac, you used to play. You've got a lot to talk about in this group because you've got a team you're now coach of as well as a team you used to play on. Let's talk a little bit about the Titan Org first and foremost. That news released that they have they've folded, they've called it in. I mean, any sentiment on that note?
Yeah, actually, I think I'm pretty sad for Titan. Obviously, we had very good relationships with the CEO of Titan, and yeah, it's actually true. And obviously, if the project is down now, means no good for Titan, obviously. So this was a guy investing a lot of money and effort into this team. Obviously, didn't reach the result he was hoping for. So all I can hope for the players now is that they actually find an organization. But obviously, like you were mentioning yesterday, for an organization to have the possibility to recruit 5 players without buying out contracts, players which have very good marketing power, obviously good level as well, they will probably crawl under very good offers and stuff, so I'm absolutely not worried for them.
See, Henry he can't really relate. Like, if you're a guy that you put a lot of money and effort into something yourself, you know, built your own project, and you haven't really had the results you wanted, and then the team just kind of like throws in the towel and it's all over for you. You hope things go better for them in the future.
To be fair, though, Henry,
you feel a bit frustrated, you know.
Okay. Maybe you should cross over the water there and pick up a French team. You don't have to pay for them now.
Do you think I'm made of money?
I mean, to be fair, Henry,
how much is that going to cost?
To be fair, leave our country if you do that, mate. You know, we don't need any of that in England.
No, like in all seriousness, no, like they've been like synonymous with Counter-Strike for the last couple of years now. Obviously, the whole QLE thing that really did affect them. Lost all the sponsors because
Cali?
I remember.
Yeah, Kugli, yeah, whatever you want to call him. Well, you know what I mean. Obviously, that scandal went down. They lost all the sponsors. Now it's been very difficult to rebuild that. Obviously, he's been losing a lot of money. I think never been able to salvage any sort of income.
I mean, he had an undetectable name, and then he had an undetectable cheat. And then VAC finally got him, so...
Just like that.
No, I mean, that's something they actually mentioned in the news post itself. I'm not quite sure I buy that entirely. It sounded like they tried to blame a lot of the organizational difficulties on that. I could certainly believe at that point in time, if you're trying to set your budget for the next year, that's obviously going to set you back a little bit. But this is a whole year later. You could have overcome that, and if you'd have had a better team after that, you'd get new sponsors in place. So I certainly think it's unfortunate for them. They couldn't have known he was cheating and all. Obviously, that did set them back. They had a good team at the time. But there's also obviously been other factors to play there, I think.
I mean, it just goes to show you as well in esports what a fine line some of these organizations are walking. I mean, a lot of investment. There's a lot of people that come in and think, okay, this is the new trend, but in some cases, you invest so much into it that the returns are very delicate. So it just goes to show if you don't find them, it's just like any other business. Let's preview their match. We said we'd start with them. That way we'll get out of the way and lead into the one that will be on this stream. They're going up against XTSM, who we've seen a little bit more than Titan recently. In fact, we saw them at IEM and ESL just before the holidays kicked in. And I don't know. It's kind of been an up and down season for them. They've struggled as far as recently as Fragbite Masters as well.
That was the biggest struggle, I think. That was one of the most disappointing performances, I think, all year from them.
Yeah, SK knocked them there.
Yeah, like an SK, the team we hadn't really seen anything from. They came up and actually beat them 2-1, I think it was. And like it's been such an up and down year for TSM. You can think of so many different events where they completely crash out. Like APM, for example. Like one of the events they came dead last and lost to refrag there. And then they had events where they can get to the semi-finals and even grand finals sometimes. It's such a difficult team to call against. That's why today, going up against Titan, it's really difficult to come in and analyze this properly. Obviously, like the last couple of events have been so like night and day in terms of results for them. So, an interesting one.
Tell you what, though, I'll give it a bloody good crack for enough money.
Okay.
So
why don't you give it a go then?
Okay. I mean, I have to say, the thing about TSM that I always say, ex-TSM, now we call it Team QM, whatever you want to call them, is that it's true. They have been slumping relative to the level that they'd reached just before the major. At that point in time, they really were like a top 2 team. A lot of people, I heard a lot of players who were telling me I think they could win the major. It's them or EnVyUs, you know. And obviously, they didn't even make it to the semi-finals. Never mind win the major. So for that standard, they've certainly been in a slump. But aside, in fact, even including Fragment Masters, it's always still top 4 finishes. They're always still qualifying for the LANs. They're still making deep runs. And particularly, I thought the last result was a positive sign, where they were at the ESEA Pro League, and they made it to the semis, and they played close maps against Fnatic, and they actually looked like one of the better teams at the tournament. So there's still some signs of life there. The problem is there's still something missing from when they had hit that peak before the majors. So they've never quite gotten back there again.
And you had them rated as high as #1 in your rankings at that time, where they finally won we get the back pick for the second matchup. I guess we'll talk about this quickly. We
can populate
we'll,
That breaks, producer. Enough of that. Then
I guess we'll come back to this. Okay, so let me write these down because we're going to get to this point. I want to finish our first discussion first. So cash out.
Okay.
Hang on. Overpass. And then Mirage was...
So obviously you get your overpass.
And then train. Okay, interesting.
Overpass out, yep.
And then what's the last one left? That's obviously Inferno. So
yeah, this is like things going according to the plan. To be honest, actually, for once, I could see this exact.
So here's my question to you then, Maniac. If you know this team EnVyUs and you know how they've picked it, etc. Okay, I can understand like the picks and bans so far. Those make sense. Like EnVyUs actually have been a bit shaky on Dust 2. Yeah. Obviously, Fnatic learned from the ESEA Pro League. Don't play Envy on Cobble. That is their best map.
They're very good.
So okay, I can understand the Mirage pick from Fnatic. It's the Train pick from EnVyUs that's confusing to me because Train hasn't particularly been like a really strong map of theirs.
Well, actually, they are very good on Inferno too. I mean, it's
certainly
very well
both
known
teams
that
are very good on
EnVyUs,
that.
both teams are very good on Inferno. But what I can say from my very short experience is that they have put a lot of effort on Train, mostly changing, making things a little bit more simple on their playstyle. And in the practice, it has been going pretty well. And I know, I think it's very important when you do a veto that you consider the actual trust you have on the map in the team. Yeah. And they had like a common feeling that Train was going well for them. And they know they have resources. They know they have A plan, B plan, C plans if things go wrong. No, of course, it doesn't mean that they can just ravel on Fnatic on Train. But I know, and we've been talking about that yesterday, that everyone was feeling confident about playing Train. And they were even going to pick Train above... inside of Inferno. That was the plan, actually.
I think that's a fair pick, Train. For me, I think that's actually just one of the strongest maps they could have hoped for, to be honest. Like that's when they've just brought Dennis in. Obviously, like we saw him at a couple of tournaments, they hadn't had time to get the whole map pool completely in there. Train was one of their go-to vetoes there. Especially, I think Frag by Masters, NIP tried to get them on Train. I think it was one of the maps.
They actually picked it as the map.
And NIP aren't a notoriously good Train team. No. They actually just went in for it because they probably thought, okay, Fnatic's probably their worst map going into it. Obviously, they got a little bit busted up on that one. But for EnVyUs, from hearing what Maniac said, like they've put the time into it as we're working on that map. Probably got the intel onto what Fnatic do on it as well. I think this is probably the strongest pick EnVyUs could have hoped for in terms of what they could have got.
The thing is, again, just to emphasize for anyone who didn't watch yesterday, we have the pick ban system that's different from all the other tournaments here, which is you ban both your maps first. So that was always going to be the problem for EnVyUs, is that some of the other teams here, TSM, Fnatic to a degree, have wider map pools. So I think I agree in that sense. Of the maps that you had left, that's the best chance for one that Fnatic are a bit shaky on. Like we saw Fnatic did lose out to, well, again, when they played against Na'Vi on that map, they kind of got schooled when they're on the CT side
and
there. So
TSM used to swallow them on that map as well.
They previously lost to Luminosity, I think, on that map as well. So yeah, it is a map that there were a few problems. The thing is, I actually like the maps for the series because when I look at the maps at the moment, I'm going to have to favour Fnatic or Mirage.
Absolutely.
They're a very strong team there. Train, I could certainly believe EnVyUs can win this against them. I don't think it's a good one. And then if we can get to a third map, this would be beautiful because these are the two best Inferno teams. Both teams are fantastic. And if you remember, it was playing on Inferno at the ESEA Pro League where EnVyUs kind of schooled them there. They kind of like tossed them around, even though Fnatic went on to win the tournament. So if they get to that third map, there'll be massive hype on even the Fnatic side that they want to win that one and winning on Inferno prove that we're actually the better team.
I'm interested to see as well, one of the problems that I remember from the former Fnatic under Pronax that they had on Inferno was a lot of force spying on their CTs early on. And if their economy got out of control too early, then the T sides, TSM specifically, used to beat them on that map for that reason.
Well, the thing you have to realize, this new Fnatic is these are the two teams who falls by the most.
Exactly.
They can get away with it.
crazy.
It's justified, though. With those guys, normally, when I'm casting CS, I see a lot of teams do it. I hate it, but when Fnatic do it, I actually don't mind it at all because they're so efficient with those lower weapons. They can cause so much damage. It's actually a very viable
But do you still think on Inferno, a map that's so utility dependent and
not
CC
necessarily,
economic dependent?
Inferno, there's so many tight choke points. Like if you go into the B bomb site, for example, like if you want to enter that bomb site, you still have to check all these very tight corners. If you have people who can use the XIV, can use the CZ efficiently at close range, those weapons are so viable. Like especially, like it's so many forced angles for the T's. Unless they execute very efficiently and they don't get caught there, it's really difficult to handle against a team like Fnatic.
Definitely
so
risk
that's why I don't really mind it with these guys when they force by.
Yeah. Talking about Dennis as well and this Fnatic in general, though, I mean, we've seen a lot of brute, fast, hard game style without a lot of tactical execution. Maniac, you've obviously played against both these teams quite a bit. What's your thoughts on Flusha being the in-game leader now? I mean, how long is that going to take to sort of materialize and develop into sort of, I guess, the level potentially where Pronax used to be, if at all?
I think he's definitely a different profile than Pronax. Maybe a little bit less on the very total mastermind analysis stingy, but I think he's a very clever player. Obviously, the past results from Fnatic since he's been in-game leader are pretty good. I mean, there's nothing to say about that. He will probably keep things a little bit more simple than Pronax was doing. You know, when you are a player and you start being in-game leader, you're going to have to rely on principles. This is also, maybe we can talk about it later, that NBK is going to lead for EnVyUs. This is, when you do this transition, it's very hard to go from just a player to the tactical mastermind with very set up strategy and stuff. You're going to rely on principles that your teammates know. And, for example, how to play the power play and how you're going to do your B execute because you've been doing that for a long, long time. You want to rely on your very trustful tactics and simple stuff. And just because I think those players, Fnatic, just because individually they are so above the average players, you can just rely on it to win every clutch situation, every tight situation you're going to win because of the principles. They know when they have to walk or run. They know when they have to tempo and wait in the round. This is kind of, you can rely on the knowledge of your player more when you are in-game leader for Dennis, for Jasper and stuff, you know. You can rely on it. It makes it a little bit easier for an in-game leader. Now, on the long run, I don't know, things will show if Flusha has what it's done.
Honeymoon period, potentially? I mean, is there any
I don't really see any reason
It's a pretty
for
good
it to go
honeymoon
down.
period if you win 3 events.
Sure,
in a row.
totally.
I don't really see any
How long does your
reason for it to
honeymoon
go down.
last, Sadik?
Well, first off, I'm probably never going to get married, so there won't be.
Listen, there's the guy out there for you somewhere.
Anyway, one point I want to make on this whole in-game leader thing. Swapping after Flusha
Yeah, I'm
taking
not
over.
really into ginger, sorry.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Henry. Go ahead.
Are we
Yes,
doing
yes,
this?
You can
let's
talk
do
to me.
this.
I'm really
sorry.
interested
Yeah,
in your
we need
opinion,
to have a
actually.
conversation.
Yeah,
if
you
you
can
like.
too.
What the interesting thing about Flusha coming in, it's not
Probably best we
it's
go
not like he's a
anyway.
fresh team and he's kind of having to cover all the tactics and kind of start from fresh. Obviously, Pronax has done all the groundwork for him. Like it's just now taking the best bits of that and what he liked, what he didn't like, and how utilizing the team in that sort of way. So when you take over that in-game leading role, and you've already played with the in-game leader for the last year or so, like it's actually a much easier role. It's actually the team already playing in the same sort of mentality. You're just kind of like taking what you thought worked best. Same thing goes for MBK, right? He's taken over as in-game leader from Happy, and it's more of the same. Like it's just his version of Happy's approach to the game, I guess.
Well, the key thing is there is there is history, like you're kind of referencing, which we know in Flusha previously tried for specific tournaments to actually be the in-game.
Yes,
He's already
right.
kind of tested the waters, and so they know his style roughly, and they made the choice to go there. In terms of MBK, okay, he wasn't ever the in-game leader of these teams, but he is famous in all of his teams in CSGO for being like the sort of number 2 guy to the guy who's the in-game leader. Like whatever the system is, okay, I'm going to help facilitate that. So he's obviously always been integral to the tactical system everyone's had. Now he's just getting some of the say over that. He has some of the autonomy in how to lead that aspect.
Yeah. What I can tell, without saying too much, obviously, from EnVyUs, but I think MBK has kind of a different vision of Counter-Strike as Happy has. He wants to have changes in the game, like deep changes in the game of EnVyUs. So this tournament is going to be, they will keep it very simple. That's what the briefing was about. Keep it simple, do the things we know work, use the principles we know work. I think the deeper changes are going to happen in the mid-term, long-term. It's going to take time. So, and this is also the first tournament he's going to be leading, in-game leader. So he has a bit of pressure. He doesn't really know the conditions. He's been leading for a few weeks on internet, but that's obviously totally different if you're leading practice. Or so
I mean, the other aspect as well with leading that people don't realize is it's much like you say about being on the analyst desk. You can have all the information up here, but you have to understand how to convey it, how to get it out in an articulate manner to your teammates. You can't just say, I need you to do this, this, and this, this, and you have to make sure it's very clear for them to understand, and that takes time to develop as well.
We've also got Maniac jumping in, helping them out as coach.
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to say, the long-term process.
You can actually kind of, you're not necessarily, you're obviously not going to be calling for them, but obviously he's got to have, he can You'll make his job a little bit easier.
Research on a map, do some tactic research, and then what I can also do is that we can like collaborate to create the tactics. Because here's the thing: when you're an in-game leader, you can come up with a crazy, very good idea, but then again, it's something different to have the idea and then explain it so that people really understand what you want. Sometimes you can get lost into details, like have this smoke and this flash, but you lost the idea of the round.
That's kind of what I
is
was getting at, right? You got to make sure it's very simple.
And this is actually my
understandable.
role when MBK comes to me and says, "Hey, I had this very good tactic on this map. You're gonna see this," and then he's gonna maybe take like 30 minutes to show me everything. And at the end, I'm gonna ask him, "Okay, how simple do you explain that to your teammates?" Because this is what in-game leader is about. You have to transfer your idea, the easy idea, because you want the player to remember the tactics. You don't. It's what the core idea. That's what you need to transfer, and it's not very easy as an in-game leader because you in your head you have all the informations, every role, every flash and stuff. But then when you have to explain, you have to keep it simple for the players. Otherwise, they just get lost in okay, this is this tactic. I just remember this smoke, and I don't really know what it is.
And sometimes it might be good to have a second set of eyes on it too, because if you create it in your mind, you think it's perfect, but you might see a flaw that he doesn't see.
It's kind of like your banter.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No, actually, the player I really want to see in this match as a result of this change, though, is Happy. Because here's the thing. He was the in-game leader, and he's famous for being the in-game leader who's also the best player on the team. And so if your style, you can actually mold some of the team around you. You can obviously have things that you're always comfortable, things are set up for you. So will he be a fantastic player without that when he's not directly in the system isn't revolved around him? Because obviously he was one of the best players of the year. And likewise, if he's not involved in the same sense, we know obviously he's been playing the lurker role for a long time in the game. What's his communication synergy going to be like when he's not the guy directing everything? Because now you have to be like knowing how to update your teammates, knowing how to play around them. So it's going to be a transition period for him as well. And obviously he was kind of the stable player. These were the two stable players actually. He was the star player, and then NBK was kind of like the rock of the team. So both of them switching things up a little bit. That can be dangerous. We don't know yet.
I mean, that is a really good point. Is that Happy has been known for that, making the strategies so that he knows exactly what's going on. It works around him. And you said one of the top players of the year, by the way. He got rated number 8, I think it was overall in the HLTV. That was just yesterday.
I mean, certainly been in my top 10. He was obviously one of the better players of the year. People forget because at the very end of the year, he did have a little bit of a lapse and the team wasn't so good. But you have to remember, the first 4 months, they were a fantastic team. Then when they remade with Kenny and Apex, they were the best team in the world. And he was the linchpin player. At all times, overall, he was the best player.
Switching back to Fnatic a little bit, because we know obviously Kenny S is going to be the op for Envy. JW at the end of the year last year, it was a team decision that he was not on the weapon. Olafmeister was wielding it. Is that something we expect to see moving into 2016?
The thing is, I actually think if you're talking about pure AWPers, like the guy who should have it every round, I think Olafmeister's a better consistent AWPer. Like he has the better shots that are standard.
He's a more traditional AWPer in this sense. Like he's not forcing unfavorable situations, just relying on crazy aim. Those kind of obviously JW does get away with it. He's famous for it, but it's still a percentage risk. Olafmeister, he's so solid with it. I couldn't believe how good he was when he actually started stepping up. It was actually really, really impressive to see. So definitely 2016, I think he's been focusing more on that weapon. The thing is about Counter-Strike, though, you don't have to have an AWP every single round, right? It can be very situational, especially when you have 5 fantastic riflers. You don't need to rely on AWP every single time. It's when the time is right, you know you've got Olafmeister there who can actually drop that weapon in and actually have a fantastic performance with it. So definitely going to see more of that this game, especially.
Yeah, so and I've just been told we're getting ready to get into the game, and there's lots of other storylines to talk about. Krims is another guy that's found a form in his game again, just from efficiency. That guy's so good. With that said, and I do apologize we didn't get to preview the other game a little bit more because there's lots of storylines for both those teams, which we'll touch on more throughout the day. Let's get predictions. We'll start on the end as always, Maniac.
Do I have to do it? Isn't there a conflict of interest right there?
I don't care. Let's do it.
I'm going to go 2-1 for my boys.
All right.
EnVyUs.
Yeah, you might have been fired already if you didn't. So
I reckon Mirage going in favor of Fnatic, Train going in favor of EnVyUs.
What do you mean? Why would they fire if they known about the game if he said that Fnatic could win? 2-1, as they will.
And then Inferno is such a coin flip, but I think Fnatic will take it. I think it's going to be 2-1 in favor.
Same reasoning as Henry, basically. I think that Fnatic will win Mirage. I think EnVyUs can get Train, and then on the Inferno, I'm slightly favouring Fnatic. So I think it's 2-1, but I hope it gets to Inferno. That should be the most fun map.
I definitely agree that I hope it goes to Inferno, and I do think that this map pool is going to be quite favourable over the first two. So I'm going to agree. I think Fnatic 2-1. We're going to send it over to the casters. It's James and DDK that will bring you Game 1 this morning.
Well, hello there, ladies and gents. Welcome. It's the first game of the day. It's going to be an amazing one as well. Two the best teams in the world, definitely, Fnatic and EnVyUs. And going to be starting things off on Mirage, which is quite cool. I mean, with this veto system, we're getting maps that we wouldn't normally get, in a best of 3 with these teams. Because it's not, not the usual veto system.
Yeah, it's ban, 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 pick, whatever's left, the residual map. So basically, most of the time when you have this situation, all the maps that the teams want to play, primarily, are going to get vetoed, unless they have a common map which they're both happy to play.
Yeah.
And then they're left with whatever's left over, which can make for some interesting maps. I think Envy are in an interesting situation now where obviously, you know, you can see there's a bit of a shuffle on the table. Happy's on the end now, NBK's in the middle, but obviously Maniac is going to be their coach, although he hasn't necessarily started yet. I'm not sure if he has, so maybe it's less of an impact him being on the casting desk than if he was like, all right, lads, we're going to do this. All right, see you later, lads. I'm off.
Yeah, he's like on the analyst. That's a little bit weird. Lepis was talking about this on Twitter, actually. He's like, I don't get it. He's the coach, but also he's on the analyst desk. Yeah. So it's not going to be able to help his team too much in this event. So yeah, that's an interesting dynamic that he has going on at the moment. But of course, you know, he's very new in this position, so perhaps, you know, they haven't really established much yet anyway. So maybe it's not, you know, a big loss for them just yet. As you can see, he is there coaching his boys, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this match develops. I would really love to see it go all the way to the third, because both of these teams are really great Inferno teams, and so, you know, and I of course want to get as much Counter-Strike out of these two teams as possible in this matchup. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I don't have any real expectations, to be honest, on any of the maps. I mean, I feel like EnVyUs have a slightly better record at the moment against Fnatic, but it's not really too much to read into, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So that should make it all the more interesting. Into the pistol we are. We have a lurker over towards the A site for the T side, which is Fnatic. Dennis is going to be in that position, but it's going to be a fast smoke from JW. I think NBK is already on the windowsill of the B apps with Kenny, I'd say looking down, but he's just taking pot shots because he is, of course, smoked off. So we'll see how Envy respond to this.
I like this, actually. EnVyUs with a nice read here with 3 players there towards B, and you can see a little bit of movement now that a player spotted towards A from Fnatic, but EnVyUs still with players in position to defend this B bomb site. In comes the push now from Fnatic, and they're trying to bust their way in here, but the shots be connected so far by EnVyUs, slowing them down, but it is a 3 versus 3. KennyS able to get a quick headshot onto Crimson. Fnatic's life is very, very difficult. Olive trying to go for the save, but this time it's just Flusher who's left, and he is creeping in from the apps. They don't know where he is just yet, but they do have the bomb, and that's going to be really difficult for Flusher to collect.
Yeah, he can get himself 1 versus 1, though. He's just holding the angle, waiting for a CT to peek, making a read that nobody's on short. Oh, it's the timing, though. I think he must have seen the corner of KennyS's head there. He's got 35 seconds, so still a bit of time for him to get that 1 versus 1. He's going to want to get that before he jumps down, because then his position will be given away. There we go, tagging to KennyS. Now he needs to move really quickly before Kiyoshima gets himself in a position to guarantee the trade for the CTs. The double peek comes out, and Envy will take the pistol round. So he saw that the fake coming in there from Flusher, who was over towards A rather than Dennis. He got the frag on the site, but there were so many players on the B site for Envy, and they just hadn't moved out of the site before Fnatic went for the push there.
It really did feel like EnVyUs had a pretty good idea that that round was very likely from Fnatic, having the 3 players there on B, or they were just very, very confident in the A retake play, which is also a very safe opener, and it's something, you know, I'd like to see, as it can be quite consistent. Now we have the Deagles out in force here, 4 Deagles for Fnatic. Who knows what can happen in a situation like this? They're looking for all the picks at the moment. So far, they're not able to find too much. EnVyUs quite aware what's going on. Great tags coming onto Olafmeister there. But I would be scared. I would be scared if I was EnVyUs, even though they had the weapon advantage. It's very scary with those Deagles long range.
Yeah, I think NBK will survive a meat shot from the Deagle, so he should still be in an advantageous position against 1 player, but Olafmeister is now moving away. Fnatic not showing all the cards just yet. You can see the bomb is left in a passive position in Palace, just in case there's a push from the CTs, perhaps. But there we go. Fnatic actually have got a lot of map control, considering they're on a force buy only with pistols. You can see JW's made it all the way into Connector, so the A split is actually quite possible here. And you can see they're not giving the game away with that extra time on the clock. Flusher walking through T-spawn at present, just making sure nobody's in an advanced position there, and then we'll see the push. Envy, though, we're going to have a bit of a triangle of doom here with KennyS towards the jungle area. 1 player on the site, that's Apex, and then you've got Kiyoshima here in CT.
Yeah, so just a lot of timing killed here by Fnatic. And I like that EnVyUs are forcing them to move, which is really good. They're not trying to go for any crazy pushes, staying their setups, and finally we'll have that push from Fnatic. They've got to go for it, and now the SMGs can be put to work, but that said, the Deagles are definitely working out so far for Fnatic. Just 2 left on the EnVyUs side as they try to make their way back onto the A side, but there are Fnatic players lurking all over the place. JW is going to be there in the window, but somehow not able to find the kill onto Happy. Slightly unaware, it would seem. MBK now makes his way onto the site, and Happy's clearing a path through Connector, so this could be very doable, but unfortunately for EnVyUs, MBK cannot get it done now, leaving everything in the hands of Happy. Crims is low, but this is going to be a difficult one. Nicely done. Takes down Flusher. Crims misses the shot, and Happy cleans house. 4 frags there for him, and enough time to get the defuse. That was a close one, though, and a lot of damage and a bomb plant. The pressure is definitely going to be kept on by Fnatic here with that round.
Yeah, it was very close. And for those of you who watch Olaf Meister POVs, you'll see that he was on a short there, and he was just lurking, despite his teammate going down in CPL, doesn't want to give his position away. He's still just walking, but Happy knew that the flank was coming in there, and that was probably possibly the most important frag of the round, because if he doesn't get that one, then the round is over, and Fnatic make it 1-1. So. And a very nice read from Happy to get the kill on Olaf Meister, despite him not giving his position away with Sound, etc. EnVyUs moving up to the rifles now, with NBK on the sniper. Of course, has become extremely notorious with the scouts.
This pressure is really unrelenting, and there you go, Olaf creeping through. Gets the first frag. Trade was set up by Fnatic as well, and in comes more and more kills. Although a team kill from Crims onto Dennis will make some issue for Fnatic, making a bit of a meal of it, but they are okay. So the man ahead, they got the bomb site. Bomb is down. It's going to be down to MBK to get something out of this scout. To try to give Happy the distraction. He needs to get in there, but just a tag might be good enough for Happy. He is a great player after all, but this is very, very awkward. Moving in from the CPL area into jungle. First of all, he will find Flusher. As soon as Flusher finds that engagement, Crims and JW will turn their heads as well for a crossfire, so it's not going to be easy by any means. Looks like he's just going for damage here, and there you go, he's going to find the kill onto JW and get the hell out of there.
Looking for a bit more, perhaps. Flush, is he going to be safe in this position? He's got 100 HP. Oh, it seems the hunt has begun for Happy. Still trying to leg it. He's got his gun out now. The flank is coming in, and he's just going to survive with 2 HP. So we'll see if he's able to use that gun in the next round. He's going to continue and buy back up with the nades, etc. So we'll see if the buy is coming out from the rest of the EnVy team in a few seconds.
This is that really big kind of SMG clutch from Happy.
Yeah, you can see Olaf Meister just walking on short there. That was a very important kill for Happy.
Yeah, this was a really, really big moment. But that said, you know, it didn't seem to...
Definitely needs to go back into the game now. Right now. Back into the game.
There we go. We'll get all the kills. So jumping back in here, we can see the force buy from EnVyUs. They don't want to let Fnatic get an easy round here. Of course, EnVyUs will have to eco, and they'll have to give up the Ghost if they do lose this one, and they are at a disadvantage. But that said, Apex with an aggressive play up into the B apartments is going to win the frag, win the day against Flusher. And now EnVyUs know what's going on. They need to get players in place here. In come the AKs of Fnatic. So far, it is looking pretty good. The coordination is there for the Swedish side. And the Frenchmen are looking to try to get some damage in here. And it's not going too well. Too much positioning from Fnatic and too many players alive.
Yeah, so we can see that EnVy did indeed go for the force by Apex. Ever dangerous with that 5-7, but it might not be enough for the team. He's still alive with that Galil, but they've got a man disadvantage. No kits on the remaining players. NBK's going to upgrade to an M4. They've still got some time on the clock here. Again, they are playing on the new Valve timings that have been imposed on the official majors. So NBK with 2 left to find, and it may be a case of damage here because I don't think he's got enough time. Essentially double peak coming in there, and Fnatic continue their winning ways. So let's have a look at the CT economy, and we can see it's a bit varied. Happy going to be the odd one out on 5k, and that's going to allow him to buy an M4.
But Kiyoshima also just spent all of his money.
Yeah,
okay, they're forcing it up again.
We don't need to see the scoreboard because all this information is shown right here.
Yeah, this is actually interesting that they're going for another force. I guess, you know, they did make a lot of frags, so they got 3 kills. So kind of understandable, but still, you know, I guess EnVyUs have a bit of a reputation for this. They have the skill to pull this kind of play off, but it's very risky. They never want to let Fnatic feel comfortable, which, you know, again, there is merit in that, but it is very high-risk play. And you can see Fnatic are creeping back through T-spawn now with a couple players. They've got the bomb towards B apartments as well. And NBK is getting close with this 5-7. If NBK is able to get a couple kills out of this, it could be massive, but they've already spotted it. And this should be game over in this round for EnVyUs now.
Well, KennyS is on the site, but his teammates are extremely far away, so he's going to need to get some work done. Otherwise, I think they're going to try and live to fight another day. Down goes KennyS, and that should mark the absolute end of the round. You can see both Envy players just walking around A, because obviously, looking at Flush's position in mid, for example, if Happy was to start running around, Flush would hear him from that position. So, for those of you at home, if you're running in T-spawn and somebody's top mid, then you can hear each other. So just be aware of that. You can see on the minimap how close A slope is to mid. So just always be aware of the sound you're giving away. So, go on.
And one of the big problems here as well is that EnVyUs didn't get any damage from this round, because with these force buys can be okay. They're justified if you have, even if you don't win the round, by doing a lot of damage, because you can always get the eco in and you keep the economy honest of the enemy side. So in doing so, you're able to force an eco out earlier when you finally get that round win and that better buy. But in doing no damage here, that's $15K made by Fnatic. That means that EnVyUs in this round with no money to keep the economy down for Fnatic, they need to get at least 3 or 4 kills here. And if they're going to lose a round. Obviously, it'd be great if they could win a round for them, but still, a lot of pressure on them now, because these decisions, these high-risk decisions that they've made, they're now starting to hurt. They're really starting to hurt.
So I'm wondering if they're going to go... They have a few nades. They could have gone for a pop flash onto A slope, but it seems they're going to just stack the site in general. There are a few... There's a sneaky position behind one of the boxes on the site where if a T comes up the slope and they play close to Shadow near the bricks, you can basically just pre-fire them straight in the face, which I wonder if it's like the other side of the fireboxes, basically, to where Happy is currently playing. It's a sneaky little angle there, but it does expose you to Connector. You can see they position themselves so they're not exposed to Connector, if I'm not mistaken, which should soon be taken by Fnatic.
Yeah, it's a nice approach here. Very steady movement through middle to safely take it and assure that they don't lose any players or isolate themselves for the EnVyUs side to be able to abuse. And we get this cute little stack here with 3 players. Nice little setup from EnVyUs, but Fnatic, if they're able to make their way through Connector, and it looks like they're going back through T-spawn with a couple players, so they're going to have a multiple-pronged attack onto the A-bomb site. And the Connector players are really heavily important here, because they're going to be able to get the angle onto this really nasty setup. The one weakness of that setup is being attacked from Connector. That's where it all unravels. And if Fnatic time it right, if they coordinate this well, the Connector players get vision of the Shadow player quickly, then it should be game over very, very fast for EnVyUs.
Well, that flashbang is going to mark the advance. Great Molotov as well. Apex going to get 2 frags with a 5-7. Always dangerous with that, down to a 3 versus 3. Happy still sneaking on the site. Going to get taken down, though, by Olofmeister. But there's still one player lurking. Soon to be eliminated is Kiyoshima. So it's NBK with a P2000, no armor. Can't expect much from him in this unfortunate situation. Triple peak coming in. And there we go, Fnatic survive with 3 players. They'll be content with that.
Yeah, coordination is the name of the game, and Fnatic did that very well in that round, understanding exactly what would be the weak spots, and understanding how do we lose this round. What kind of setups could be run into, what kind of setups would EnVyUs run, knowing that they have, that kind of money to buy with, which is just going to result in pistols. So very smart play from Fnatic, very cognizant of what is possible.
Oh, here comes Apex coming through mid with a flashbang from his teammate. 2 Flash Fnatic plays. Down goes 1, down goes 2. The nade flying in there from Kiyoshima. But can Apex... Oh, nice. KennyS is going to cover Apex before Crims can get the punish in. And Fnatic have been torn apart here on the next buy round from Envy.
It's quite cool to see an actual buy round out of Envy, because I think this is the first proper time we're going to see a buy on them, and it's actually working out quite well. So dismantling Fnatic's aggression through middle with some sneaky little plays, fast little actions, and now Fnatic in this 2 versus 4. It's a very hard spot, of course. They're going to need to collect the bomb onto Flusher, and JW is going to need to get a pick here from Slope. There's no way you can make this happen without one of these 2 players taking a risk, a big risk, and being rewarded by connecting a shot. Now, JW's that man, but as we can see, EnVyUs are not really showing themselves. They're not availing themselves to any of these picking possibilities that JW is searching for. And Kiyoshima, in fact, is just jumping. So he's doing a jump spot, so he's very safe against Palace. He's not peeking in the open. It's very, very smart play here from EnVyUs. JW trying to sneak on all the angles. He has to get something here. He really needs to find one of these players. And there you go. Happy gets caught over by Shadow. And this could be the start of something. But time is of the essence. 30 seconds left in the round.
Sort of flashbang coming towards Kenya's position. The smoke in there as well, but Kiyoshima is still jumping around on the barrel. The plant comes in and he's not going to allow it. 20 seconds left. JW still got work to do, but the trade's going to come in before he can fire his AWP once more. Good damage, though, done to the C2 economy, bearing in mind that it's EnVyUs just getting back to winning ways there, and you can see that their economy will indeed be strained. Kiyoshima going to have to let go of the helmet just to be able to buy that one smoke grenade. So Fnatic are going to be back on the buy as well. You can see the economy is strained for both teams, but if Fnatic win this round, then they may be able to run away with the first half, perhaps. 2 ops coming out for the NV side, Happy picking up the second one.
Yeah, and 2 for Fnatic as well. So you don't often see 4 AWPs on this map because on the T side, some teams don't even like to run AWPs all that much on the T side. But we are going to see that here, and it's going to be a slower round based on these picks. And Apex, he's very good at playing the slope position, as we can see there close. And that's where JW is. He wants to get a pick out of this. And in comes the pop flash. JW, he's going to actually just whiff off a shot there as he gets blinded. Apex can't capitalize just yet. Oh, JW had an opportunity there to keep himself alive, but Apex will find the kill on him instead. And now it's a 4 versus 4 situation. And BK was lost. And Olofmeister is the one that made that happen, but Happy is going to skin Olofmeister alive with that AWP, and now it's going to be a 4 versus 3. So Fnatic have to go for an A play, and it's going to be hard against what EnVyUs have to show here.
Indeed, this will be reminiscent of CyberZen's pushes against G2 yesterday, but minus a few players. Apex is going to emerge and see the bomb for his team. Kiyoshima coming in as well, and it's looking very strong for EnVy at the moment, but down to 2 versus 1 now, and we know how dangerous Dennis can be. Kenya's missing the shot, missing the nade as well. Still 45 seconds, so Dennis has his options available to him. Got to be careful, though, because Happy's watching the cross of the AWP, which he's going to smoke off, but he hasn't done it properly. Now he knows where Happy is because Happy's missed a shot, taking pot shots, and he's going to get it through the smoke before Dennis can get around the corner. So EnVy survive, but again, their economy will be strained, but Fnatic are going to have ropey economy as well.
Yeah, and the 2 AWPs are going to be an interesting thing to deal with. You know, when you see 2 AWPs when you're on the T side, you'll probably be thinking, okay, it'd be great to, taking map control is always good. It's always nice to obscure what we're doing by taking a bit of map control, applying a little bit of pressure, forcing a lot of rotations. But finishing on a set play into a bomb site, trying to smoke off the AWPers, that can allow you a bomb plant that can make the AWPers move, and then they have to go for a retake, which is never easy for an AWP. So that's usually an option that will be strong for you. But Fnatic, in this instance, are going to be on an eco. But I would expect in their next buy round, oh, okay, Grins is going to just cap Kenny S in the face with that deagle. That's a nice shot. What else can he get done here? But it's always scary when any of these players on this server has a pistol of any kind, almost.
Yeah, so there are 2 deagles in play, which may cause more problems for the NV side. And these are really important frags for Fnatic. You can see Apex only has $700 in the bank here. So if Fnatic can keep that economic pressure by getting 1 or 2 more frags in this round, even if they lose it, then it may pay off for them in dividends a bit later on. 1 minute remaining on the clock here. There's still a lurker in mid, which is Crim, so they could be going for a fast split here as the flashbang's coming in. Kiyoshima's getting tagged down quite a lot now. He's not going to be finished off just yet. There he goes. Flash is going to take him down. So there's 3 players left for EnVy, and Flash has 10 HP and a P250. Doesn't have the bomb either. Ideally, he wants to find Apex here to get a bit more damage in. He's got 35 seconds to bide his time, and a good angle. They end up not even sure where he is. Can't get the angle onto NBK, so EnVy will survive with 3 players. Quickly going back to the previous round, just wanted to mention some of these struggles that CyberZen had versus G2 on CyberZen's CT side. You can see Apex was playing right directly in front of the smoke there, which is what they needed to do. A bit more aggression from them may have put them in. They may have kept them in the tournament, basically.
And they also lost an AWP there. EnVyUs were not able to collect the second AWP from Kenny S's corpse, so that's going to be a little bit annoying, as the double AWP setup is strong. I mean, they have great AWPers on their team, so they have to settle for rifles, and they'll be peeking in there over by Slope, and Apex will win the battle again. Apex is really good in these positions, and once again, he's going to net his team a frag. Now, Fnatic, they don't have many grenades, and they need to take some positioning here. You can see that they're starting to work on middle. They've secured top middle and the underpass area. Kenny S is lurking towards the window. He could get flashed in for a peek from a teammate, and Apex is feeling out the slope area to see if there is going to be an A push, because that's what's quite likely usually in spots like this. But instead, Fnatic are all gathering towards the short area. They might just walk short, actually, in towards the B area. It's hard to say at this point in time, as they don't have a player towards the apartments on either A or B. This is going to be very tough for Fnatic.
Dennis has a smoke, so they can close off the peak from A, which would help them if they're going to go for the B push, and it seems they've done exactly that with a smoke on the balcony, but Happy's on the site with an AWP. He's got a great angle to get another shot, and indeed he would get it through the corner of the wall, leaving only Crims, and he's going to get taken down by NBK coming in to save his teammate there. So a nice hold by Envy. I was going to say, Flusher was in the apps and almost met Happy there, and he was carrying the bomb as well, so that could have shut down the round pretty quickly.
And I mean, a big problem there again, you don't tend to see this too often from teams of this top level, but one of the most important things always on any attack in almost anything in war is splitting the defense. And you know, you can see there it was just 1 point of attack, and that's going to be always going to be very problematic, very risky. So not having anyone in apps there seems a little bit suspect from Fnatic. And you see something better from them in the future rounds as they're back on the pistols once again. Pistol armor, and Happy is ready and waiting. This could be absolute carnage now as he waits with a very high-powered rifle. The AWP is in hand. There's the first kill. How many more is he going to pick up here? Will they challenge? Will they actually just go back at this point?
I'm just waiting for him to kill 2 people at the same time.
Yeah.
They're going to have to rush. Let's see. Misses the first shot, but he's going to go back to the wall. It's Happy. He loves it. Going to miss the shot again, but he can still retreat. Got good positioning there. Not going to get the frag, though. Flush is going to get the kill and plant the bomb for his team. So that's got some important bonus money for Fnatic. With 2 rounds behind at the moment. NBK and co streaming in with the kills, leaving Dennis alone. But again, there's only 2 left, and Dennis is a very apt AWPer. Extremely aggressive as well, so he could even take this for his team. Down to 1 versus 1 now. Needs to hit the shot, and he's not going to do it. Apex going to finish him off there. 1 person surviving for Envy. Just when their economy was starting to head in the right direction, they're going to have a big rebuy coming in. Again, we'll have to bear that in mind, because if Fnatic can finally break them in the future, then things could change. But they're running out of rounds to do it. That was
really awful from EnVyUs in that situation. I mean, it's Happy whiffing those 2 shots. He waited for the flash from his teammate, and that was great. But with 3 players on the screen, you expect Happy to hit one of those shots there. So a little bit of just fluffing the execution there, not something you would expect, and it's definitely hurt them, and they've got to hurt their own timings now as well onto these pushes. So that's kind of annoying as well.
Yeah, they basically can't peek after Happy's like, oh whoops, I've got the wrong way, lads. They can't peek mid now, so they're going to be lacking the information. Fnatic take mid for free. 3 people over towards B for the Envy side, including Happy on short. So Connector's a bit vulnerable at the moment unless Happy retains an aggressive position. But you can see there's a bit of movement from him. Envy seem to have decided to very aggressively take the B halls area, but they're going to back off now.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting round. I mean, EnVyUs, they need to... I mean, they could have a strong half still if they win this one, but Fnatic could be right back in it, and EnVyUs is starting to show a little bit of weakness here and there. It's a nice little frag by Kiyoshima. You can see Fnatic not quite sure where to look there, moving through Connector with 2 players.
Things have got awkward for them now because they had the bomb. Olofmeister had the bomb on Delpan, but you can see with Happy on shorts, they can't really safely rotate the bomb into Connector now that they've lost a player there.
It's okay, I think, though, because having at least 1 player in Connector, at least 1 guy in Connector, you can always make a round out of this. And they decided to say, okay, as you say, it looked a little bit chaotic, but at least having Crims in that Connector, they can build a triple-pronged attack into the A-bomb site. That's what's going to happen right now. We've got Apex and Kiyoshima in very good positions to deal with it, though, and fast support if necessary from Kenny S with the AWP. So
another problem, they have Crims is the only man with a flashbang here, and he's in Connector, so they can't really do anything. They just have to go for the duels, which may favour the CTs, considering their positions on the site. And indeed, Apex taking down Olofmeister. There goes the bomb. JW's to fall as well, and Fnatic won't get a single frag in that round. So there was a few problems for them. They didn't have a smoke to smoke off short for the bomb to come into Connector, so the bomb has to rotate all the way around T-spawn. Then Crims is the only man with a flashbang, but he's in Connector, so he basically can't throw it because then Happy's going to kill him from short. Yeah. So the utility was all in the wrong places there for Fnatic.
And one of those, again, going back to that concept of splitting the defense, that's one of the reasons, of course, triple-pronged attack is going to be great. And you can see we're giving Kenny S a little bit of a massage there, a little bit of reinforcements. And but yeah, so having no grenades, as you mentioned, that makes it really hard to coordinate. So that you can get people in the right positions, because like you said, you want Crims to be able to actually move out there, and with no flashes to distract the players on the site, Crims is kind of, I mean, he's probably just going to die there. So it's very hard to know where to look. And if he's not able to do much in that position, then his teammates are going to all get gunned down by the little setup by the guy on sandwich.
Yeah, they had no flashes, no smokes. So it was very hard for them to isolate the CT players, which is what you want to do as the Ts, obviously. So just went for the straight peaks there. Very hard to trade coming in from those angles as well. So there we go. We'll see what the Fnatic economy is looking like once we get back into the game. I think maybe an unpause is coming in.
Where's JW's massage? That's what I want to know. Why does Kenny S get one, but JW doesn't get one?
If you want to pop over there, be my guest. You know, I can hold it down here.
It's cool though. I mean, actually, what you're seeing here is also the classic kind of Swedish, just very stone cold kind of attitude, and so it's quite cool to see, you know, a bit of warmth there on the French side of things as well. Having Maniac there behind them, that new presence is really nice to see. You know, Maniac's a guy they're going to have a tons of respect for as well, of course. But okay, back into the match. Fnatic do have a buy, bit more in the way of grenades this time, but an ump on JW. This is not a good look against the double AWP. They are definitely going to need to make great use of these smoke grenades to cut off the angles from those sniper rifles.
Good thing is that JW's got the one playing Palace, so he's playing as close as possible with the gun, which is going to need to be as close as possible. Obviously, he'll have a bit of moving accuracy, which will help. Kenny is on the hunt at the moment, but he has been exposed. No one's covering his back from mid. He's going to get taken down. Trey's coming in as well. 3 versus 3. The frags are moving in pretty quickly. JW picks up an M4 now. Happy coming in with his second AWP. Both AWPs going to miss though. Olofmeister not hitting the shot either. Bomb gets planted, and we'll see what Fnatic can do here. What kind of position they can get into. Spotted one of the plays. They know where both CTs are now. Again, the shot's being missed, and the numbers will be evened up. JW going to put the advantage back in Fnatic's way now. NBK is going to spot him. Doesn't know where Crims is, though. Crims not going for the trade just yet. NBK, you can see, he's looking for the trade fragger, but Crims not going to reveal himself. JW baiting NBK out, and now the trade comes in. Good play by Crims, and Fnatic finally win another round.
Yeah, that was a very awkward series of engagements from both sides. Definitely, you know, maybe some warming up to do. Maybe the massage was definitely quite needed for multiple players, in fact. As we have the 8-5 scoreline now, EnVyUs have the potential to really crush Fnatic in this half. Now, we'll have to see if they're able to do so. We've got a better buy out of Fnatic this time around. And we'll get some aggression from EnVyUs in middle. Olofmeister's not expecting it. Gets flashed now. He's caught in the open. That's the frag there for Apex. And that is Yorp down for Olofmeister. And that's a really big deal because now we've only got 2 points of attack here from the Fnatic side onto the A-bomb side as the CTs of EnVyUs rush into position. Happy's there with the first frag. Gets the second one as well on the bomb side. This is a great defense so far. He's going to be poking up. Jump shot with that USP is going to do the damage. JW hits the ground. And now it's just onto Flusher. And this is a pretty impossible position from the Tetris area that he's in at the moment. He's looking for an engagement, but again, smart play from EnVyUs, not going to try and expose themselves with a wide peak. Flusher will give himself some cover with that smoke, but it's looking rather impossible at this point. And there we go, finished off by Kiyoshima, and the 9-5 is there for EnVyUs.
Great play by Happy in the ninja position. That's a position I was referring to a bit earlier on. The first time the Ts can see you there is when they get to the sandwich position, but it's almost never the first position you check as a T. Once you get to sandwich, you're generally looking over towards CT or Shadow. So definitely a massive thorn in the side is Happy as per usual. Fnatic seem to be concentrated in this last round over towards the A side at present. Only pistols on the force buy here, with Olofmeister presumably in the underpass area. Well, I'm not sure if he's peeking towards B, but we will find out soon enough. So the 8-7 was possible, but it's looking like a 9-6 or a 10-5 at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see Apex was really high on the frags there, 17 for his team. He's leading the scoreboard. He's been playing this A side so much and doing it so effectively. It goes to push now from Fnatic and straight into the rifle crossfires of EnVyUs. They are loving it at the moment. Kiyoshima jumping across with the savage rage there, and he's not going to find all that much, it would seem. So this half is it's been played out quite well, despite seeing that very sketchy round that we saw from Happy whiffing those shots on B apartments when it's just 4 players with pistols and they, you know, Fnatic win that round. That looked really crazy. I was a bit worried for EnVyUs in that spot, but they stabilized almost immediately.
So the second map will be Train, and the decider, should it be required, will be Inferno between these two teams. So that was a very good half by EnVy. I love the aggression we saw there, especially the 2-man push in B apps as well. Kind of Inferno-esque aggression where they were just trying to cut off swathes of the map. Good aggression in mid as well, good aggression in A. It was like when Virtus Pro are playing Mirage at their best and you don't know what to expect from them. You get this kind of aggression, so it's great to see there from Envy. Good coordination, team play, flashbangs, pop flashes, etc. It's really, really nice. Showing us the inside of his eye. Thank you very much for that. Too early to see.
That's going for anime right there.
Yeah.
That's something they do in anime. They like stick out their tongues and they like stretch their eye.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. I guess it's like, you know, I don't know.
They just do it.
They just do that. It's
fair enough.
Anime things.
Alrighty then.
I don't have to explain anything in anime, I don't think.
Well, it's good to see Envy on point there. Again, the coordination on that CT side was very good, and the aggression was exquisite. But now it's time for Fnatic to play on the CT side, and they're going to need aggression to get back into this match because they are at quite the deficit at present.
Yeah, I want to see Olofmeister being a little bit stronger in his game because we saw a lot of weakness from him there. That's not necessarily characteristic. A lot of missed shots, a lot of unexpected aggressions catching him off guard. That's not the Olofmeister we know, but we'll be seeing EnVyUs now with Apex in middle, looking for the first contact. He's going to find it, and Fnatic are spotting the play as they see all of EnVyUs, all these Frenchmen rushing through connector onto the A-bomb site. Dennis spinning around wildly, able to take down 2 players. So he's done a great job for Fnatic so far. They have a good advantage into this one. Just 1 player left is Apex, and he's been doing a great amount of damage so far. Switches up for the USP, but he is going to be shut down. Fnatic with the pistol round, and that's going to be a huge sigh of relief from them now as they get to start with some comfort into the second half, and they'll get to start also with a lot of rounds to play with.
I love the carnage from Envy, where they just try to overwhelm and cause so much bedlam that I mean, imagine trying to communicate on the CT side while they're all just jumping all over the place, jumping through connector. That cannot be easy. Fnatic, though, did a good job. JW on the scout, the rest of them going to be on the SMGs and the M4s, FAMAS. Dennis with the P90. I'm looking for disgusting things to happen with that, but he is out of position over towards B. And you can see Envy concentrated towards A. 3 players coming out of Palace. They've got 3 flashbangs coming out after this smoke grenade, so we'll see if they can get a close quarters engagement. Sorry, Dennis is on the A side, and there we go, in the right place. JW coming in to take down Happy as well, and Dennis just biding his time with the P90, getting taken down though. Apex remains versus 4. He'll be finished off. Will the P90 be collected and swapped for the scout? Indeed, it will.
Delicious stuff for the P90 there. Love it. And now we will see, hopefully, the P90 kept in use. And EnVyUs need to go for a bit of a save. We see a few pistols from them, but there's not much of an expectation. You can see that there are no grenades either. So the fact that there's no grenades really makes the possibility for a plant very unlikely. But what they're going to try to do to mitigate that fact is by faking into the B-bomb site. But I would never expect Fnatic to be fooled by this. Nice double on the grenade. And now it's going to be the play in with the bomb, but it's going to be spotted. So Fnatic all over this. Fakes like that almost never work, actually, especially on this level. Because teams, usually if they don't see the bomb, they're not going to rotate.
It tilts me when
yeah. We saw that yesterday, right? Who did we see do that? Was it G2? I think?
Yeah.
On Cash, yeah. They rotated everyone to A on Cash when they hadn't seen the bomb, and then there was a plant.
It was a 5 versus 2.
Yeah.
It was a 5 versus 2, Dan.
Yeah, not even 4 players killed or something on the A side. Yeah. Anyway, back into this.
Right, so Fnatic starting with 3 players deep in the A site, and they've abandoned mid for the time being, perhaps expecting another fast play from Envy. We've got Olofmeister having a look in mid, so not clear as to what might be going on here for the CT side. And with a lurker towards A and a lurker towards a B, sorry, Envy's intentions are not too clear. They've got a lot of smokes, so they've denied vision of the mid area, but they can put a smoke deep into connector and choose to push A for the split. But they've taken away their Apps lurker, so it seems the concentration is going to be towards A as they move into connector.
Look at this now. All these players from EnVyUs in middle 4, in fact. One's been in boosted, or actually made his way into the window room. And this is something Fnatic will understand. They'll know that these positions have been given up.
Look at Olofmeister's position looking through CPO. It seems that Fnatic might be expecting this.
And the push is finally coming in now. A lot of them lining up for Crims, but he only gets 1. This is looking very, very awkward, but it's JW that's able to make the damage happen. And on top of that, a team kill from Kenny S onto Kiyoshima is going to enable a 1 versus 1 situation. So bit crazy at the moment, and we can see that MBK is going to try to make his way in onto the bomb position, and JW's gone for the immediate push round to apartments. Smart decision. Will MBK be wise to this? And JW's going to give his position away. Or did he? He had the silencer on. I didn't know that MBK realized where he was shot from immediately, but now he's aware of what's happening. He needs to see the bomb picked up by MBK soon right now. JW's going to look to play the clock as MBK tries to throw in a flash, and he hasn't got time to go to the other side. This is so difficult. There's nowhere that's really safe for him to go for the plant. He hasn't got time to really fake it. JW knows he's in a winning position at this point of time because the bomb has to go down right now. He can make the move as the bomb gets planted. MBK is now going to have to peek out, and JW's playing this really safe at the moment, not diving in straight on top of his opponent, and that's going to cost him. MBK gets the kill in the end. And you could see that JW there, he didn't go in when the bomb was being planted with 5 seconds left. That means that he thinks MBK might commit completely to getting the kill to win the round and not the bomb plant.
Yeah, that round was so awesome to watch. You can see on the radar here, NBK is in CPL. Olofmeister is waiting for someone to cross CPL, seemingly having a read that there's a boost coming in. But NBK didn't cross because, the mind games are insane between these two teams.
Madness.
Went all the way down to the wire there with the mind games at the very end. So this is very, very good to watch. 3 rounds between these two teams at the moment. Both teams on the bye. Mixed bag of weaponry for the NV side as they push towards the A site once again. Dennis moving around the smokes now, trying to get in a position where he's not going to get traded by his team, by the NV side. Crimson's gone down already though. There goes Olofmeister as well. Not looking good. Through the smoke, Dennis will fall. 2 players left for Fnatic. JW's only on 12 HP, so NV looking to break the CT economy now.
Yeah, this is a brilliant round from EnVyUs. Bomb goes down, looking for the retake of Fnatic, but losing JW will signify the end of that effort. And for me, we saw Dennis had perfect pop flashes onto the slope position, but the setup from EnVyUs on their set play was to completely cut the bomb site in half, which meant that Dennis, with that perfect series of flashes, couldn't go through the smoke. He couldn't get anything out of it. And then because of the elevated position of the T's, thanks to those smokes and the position that they gained because of the smokes for free, well, for the cost of the smokes, they were able to get that angle onto Dennis and get a free kill onto him. Dennis needed to get a couple kills there. He was set up for it, but the set play denied him. Great round from EnVyUs. Fnatic could be in a lot of trouble from this point forward. EnVyUs, I would say, are definitely looking a bit stronger than Fnatic were on their T side.
Apex is going nuclear right now, heading towards a 30 bomb at the moment. Doing quite well. So this is a great opportunity for Envy to try and close in on that magical 16th round. Fnatic are going to be in a bit of a tight spot. You can see we've got Flusher on the AWP and Kevlar, while the rest of the team don't have much going on. I'm not sure if Flusher was playing a spawn timing or if he just had more money than the rest. See, there's 3 CTs on the A site once again. So they seem to be reading that Envy favor the A side and trying to bolster their defenses. But Envy looking pretty sharp at the moment. So Envy know where the AWP is for the time being. Obviously, it's in a position that can rotate towards mid as well. And Envy just looking to arrest people with these AKs. That is a nasty nade. Olofmeister with just a USP and 7 HP. Can't be doing much. Kishima holding the angle while NBK comes in from the back. The Wheelie all the way below. I like how coordinated EnVy looking right now. There's the Molotov as well, and the spray. No messing around here from EnVyUs.
Yeah, and the AWP from Fnatic is over towards the B bomb site. And if bomb site A is taken by EnVyUs, there should be no way that this can happen. But these pistols are actually starting to do some damage here. JW and Crim's picking up some kills. So now Flusher, all he needs to do is get one. And this is very, very on. And there's one smoke active for EnVyUs by Connector, and that's going to dissipate very, very quickly. I think it might have already gone. So if Flush is able to get a kill, they can think about trying to do some more damage here. But the bomb will be planted, and they really want to hold on to the AWP. But this will push EnVyUs onto 13 rounds. And so they're going to be very close to winning the first map as well. And Fnatic, they were a team that historically were one of the most comfortable, one of the best, most efficient teams on this map. And it was due to their savage CT sides. And the ability for Crims to really lock down, the area like Connector, which is one of the hardest positions to play for the CT side, across all the maps.
Yeah, I think Envy though are just playing awesome at the moment. They are playing really, really well. Well, Fnatic are going to save themselves 2 guns in this round, and that's going to be really important because if they do go for the buy here, then their nades are going to be limited across the team. So those guns are definitely going to help with that. Indeed, they're going to get all the nades out. So That's going to be great for them. And 3 defuse kits, so we'll see if they can get back into this match. They're running out of opportunities to do so on the first map of this best of 3. You can see the bomb moving towards the A site for Envy as they take their initial positions, take their initial map control, make sure there are no shenanigans coming in from Fnatic. Again, Fnatic haven't really had the opportunity to be as aggressive as Envy have because they haven't had their economy in the right place.
Absolutely. It's been a little bit awkward. And will we get the jump spot? Kenny's looking for it. Look how safe that is from Flusher. Had he gone for the jump spot there, Kenny's is very likely getting the kill. And if Kenny's gets a kill there, that changes the round completely.
Well, Kenny's been wrecked though, down to 5 HP, and Kiyoshima's down to 45. I think some chunky nades would come in towards that B area. So if they start to bomb out and don't flash these players, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble because those spray downs might be lethal, although that's going to make a great difference. NBK coming in with 2 headshots, opening up the B bomb site for his team, making it look easy. There's one more to find here.
That was stunning stuff there from MBK. I can't believe it. Look at this guy go. He gets, oh my god. We're getting amazing fragging here from EnVyUs, just bursting out of the apartments, looking like complete monsters in this point. And now it's just Crim's left alive. What do you do against that, James? What on earth do you do against? MBK just walks out and completely destroys Fnatic on the defense. Pure individual skill.
It's something that Thorin mentions quite a lot, is that don't sleep on NBK. Like he plays a lot of the solo positions on the CT side, but he is one of the stars. But he just doesn't have a star role in the side. But I mean, that's an example of what he can do. Whenever he needs to turn it on, the hounds of justice are released.
Yes, it's always going to be one of the dangers of these teams. You know, right now we're seeing MBK and Apex really delivering, and it can, and every single player on that team can explode like that. That's the craziness of a lineup like EnVyUs.
And talk about stepping up when you need to. Look at the health of Kiyoshima and Kenny S here. So MBK is like, no worries, guys, I've got this. Let me just go in and kill everyone. Then you can prance in undetected.
The best thing there as well is from like a technical perspective or a mechanics perspective. MBK knows that he only saw a pixel, but he knows he has to shoot first, so he gets to spray in. So he's basically controlling his recoil on that second frag to try to basically just clip the helmet more or less.
Concentrate the bullets.
Which means, you know, you've got to have perfect recoil control to do that and the confidence to do it. He's not trying to wait for a tap or something. And that's a perfect way to play that position from MBK. So, and it's a split-second decision that he makes there. So, you know, EnVyUs looking really on point so far. Fnatic a little bit slow out the gate, but will they catch up?
I think on average, he deathmatches at least 500 frags a day. 500 frags a day
on
deathmatch.
Well, that probably takes him about 5 minutes, James.
Yeah. So, I on free-for-all deathmatch in 20 minutes, I probably average about 110 frags. So 500 frags a day, and you can see the fruits of his labor there with all the headshots. Double scout coming in for Fnatic now with a Mag 7 and an AWP. Desperate times on the first map of this best of 3. That's a good start though. JW taking down Kenny S, and Dennis is in there if he needs to be required, but Happy holding a passive angle at the moment. Actually, it seems this is interesting. If you look at Olofmeister's position, top mid, he might hear Envy running around. Indeed, he should. He's holding right angle, but he's not going to get the frag. Apex is somehow going to shoot him in the face, and now we've got some aggression from Fnatic finally, but Envy are at 14 rounds, and it's not paying off.
That's a really huge problem because Olofmeister could have got the kill, he had a one-on-one, and then he could have fallen back to a tighter angle where he can see him moving through apartments. And now instead we have the situation for Fnatic are quickly losing grip of a situation where they already had a worse arsenal, but they had a better positioning and they had a frag to save for themselves. So now look at what's happened. EnVyUs have the entire map essentially, and of course the biggest issue is JW with this AWP. He's got not much in the way of health. Kiyoshima's going to spot him, so now he can use that smoke as well to cover his approach. And the nade goes in, but it's going to be whiffed there. So Fnatic in very dire straits in this round. It looks so good for them. But once again, Olofmeister not really on point.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a crucial moment for them, but it fell apart, and don't fancy their chances now. Crim's the last man standing with a scout. The spray's coming in. The whole team's going to be concentrating on his position. All the nades coming in as well. So Envy are going to move to game point in this best of 3. Again, the next map is going to be Train, and there goes Crim. So Fnatic are on the brink of losing map 1 to an EnVyUs side who are looking extremely strong on Mirage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great Mirage game. They've had a few moments where that have been irksome for them, but generally speaking, it's Fnatic making more mistakes than they are. And I think the momentum individually is really with EnVyUs at the moment. That's a scary notion as Apex picks up the kill onto JW middle. So the last desperation play from Fnatic to try to scrape their way back into this one is going to be met with a disadvantage immediately, as now the middle area is EnVyUs's. And so from this position, with a guy towards B-Apps, a guy towards A slope, they can go either which way as long as they get a bit more forward in middle. They can make the call based on whether they get a pick or not. And Happy's going to be the guy looking for the pick. He's going to get it onto Crims. That should be the A play now. He's going to get another engagement and another frag. Can EnVyUs do any wrong?
Yeah, they are winning all the duels here, and this game is pretty much over. And there it is, 16-8, a solid performance from Envy. That's one of the best matches I have seen them play, best games I've seen them play recently. Just so sharp on both halves. The aggression on the CT side was fantastic. We saw no such aggression from Fnatic, but they didn't have the rounds to do it. They didn't have the economy to do it. So Envy took control of that match from the start, and it was just a stellar performance from start to finish. Yeah,
I'm really excited to see what happens on Train now, because Fnatic can be a great team on Train, but they actually usually rely more on trying to abuse the individual skill of their players. Players like JW and Olofmeister are usually very key. Olofmeister, he's initially what was so surprising about how that they played Train was Olofmeister's ability to just move into very forward positions and win all the aim battles. But if you're not on point on aim in a situation like that, when you've got that kind of a style, you've got to rely more on strategy, more on coordination, more on tactical prowess, and that's going to be difficult against an EnVyUs, which is running hot right now.
Yeah, so Fnatic were not allowed to do what they wanted to do when they were on the T side, basically. You could see from the aggression that Envy showed, they controlled the map on both halves, basically. So that's the biggest issue, I would say, for Fnatic at the moment, is how do we retain control? When Envy were on the T side, towards the end, you saw a lot of passive rounds there, but again, Fnatic were in a desperate situation, and Envy could just sit and wait, allow them to hang themselves if that's what they wanted to do, or then push. They had all the control, they had the better weaponry, the better utility, and people like NBK stepping up. Apex, I don't know how many frags he had by the end of that, but it was almost 30 at least. So
yeah, I mean, initially you could see some kind of weakness when Happy was in the spotlight. Happy wasn't playing the best, but there were generally more individual kind of misplays on Fnatic's side. And Apex, like you say, the A defenses that he was making were ridiculous, quite frankly, because he kept mixing it up as well. There's lots of spots where he was playing very proactively and very close to the A slope choke point, and then other spots where he was playing much further back. So he was showing a huge range of positions which he could do very well within the setups of the A defense for the team, and they seemed insurmountable in many moments. So yeah, it's looking really cool at the moment with EnVyUs, but Train's a very different map. But it's hard to see them struggle if they're on such form right now.
All right, so we're going to go through some quick commercials, and then we'll be back on the analyst desk with Sadakist & Co. See you in a few minutes.
E-gaming bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
You got spare game codes or any digital goods? There is a place you can sell them in less than 1 minute. Watch. Go to G2A.com. Click Start Selling. Fast login. Go to My Account and click on Selling tab. Sell new item. Enter name, code, set a price. And done. G2A.com Digital Marketplace. Global selling simplified.
Do you have extra CSGO skins? Do you want to win really cool things? Visit CSGOfast.com. Place your bets and win really cool skins. CSGOfast.com. Check your fortune.
Welcome back, guys. Yeah, pretty comprehensive victory for Na'Vi, or excuse me, EnVy on Mirage. We all predicted.
Smooth as ever.
It was great. Good intro. To be fair, though, we all thought Fnatic would have Mirage convincingly. That was one of their better maps.
Yep.
They didn't even get the map control that they're known for. Even Connector was a bit of an issue. Crims is normally locked down in that position.
Yeah.
You were down there, the coach. Hands-on coach.
I had only one perspective, so I can only talk about what I've seen from EnVy. I think it was a very good game. They had, for me, it seems like they had a lot of control since the point they stopped taking the entry frags on A as CT. They were down 4-2 as CT, and I think it's mainly because the A players from Fnatic could go up the ramp, get a kill, play a 5v4. When they fixed that issue, they got back the control of the game, started even to be aggressive. We saw Apex going on the pass once, aggressive in the middle twice. They pushed Fnatic to the limits, and when they realized they had the control of the game, they just play very standard. We've seen a Happy looking down the B with AVP. And from that point on, it was just 5v4, 4v3, and we played the information game.
It seemed like Happy was taking over the main AWP role for the first half, at least. Like you did go, at some point go to double AWPs, where Kenny taking over, but it seemed like, is that a conscious decision the team has made for that map, especially that Happy is the main AWPer?
I think it's pretty situational. For one point, Kenny didn't have his best game of the year, obviously. He was struggling in the middle because Fnatic put a lot of pressure in the middle ST when they're going to take it, so they pushed him back. Also, it was about the money system. Kenny couldn't rarely afford an AVP. Sure. And we've realized that Olof was very often coming to B house, going for the pick. He once got it on NBK with the AVP.
Sure.
So what they would do is they would give Happy the AVP so that they can actually either lock down the B house with AVP or go short. And then I think they even run double AVP setup at some point.
Yep.
So this is one of the things they do. They have one AVP in short, one AVP Kenny that can actually jump and take the underpass. So yeah, the Happy's AVP is very situational.
To be fair, there was a bit of miscommunication about that, though, because I think round 12, you want Kenny to go for that jump, and Happy was halfway through the vent, and then stopped and went, oh, wait, you go through the vent, I'll go back, and they just sat there kissing inside the vent for 5 seconds.
Well, this is typically a round where they were going for the setup, and then Happy reminded that Olof was going very often to B house. So he just said, okay, let's not do this. I'm gonna go to B house. I'm gonna kill Olof because he's gonna come for me. So this is typically a round they realized they have to do something with his AVP, something else.
If we see this performance here, this is why it's been confusing to me in the past that EnVyUs had such a small map pool, because a map like Mirage, where you can get T-side rounds, that anytime they have an Apex game, they should have been able to win this map, actually, because obviously when Apex goes off on T-side like that, you're going to get fantastic chance to win, even against very, very skilled teams. So it hasn't been a map that's been in their wheelhouse recently. They have been limited to those 3 maps, and obviously the pick-ban system here meant Fnatic could just take 2 of the 3 out immediately. So this is very favorable for them that they can get Mirage now, because, okay, it's not like Train's a really strong map for them and a really bad map for Fnatic. It's not quite that extreme, but now they're sort of playing with house money as it is, because they can still win on Inferno, but now they have a chance to win on Train as well.
Yeah. Did this put, this is the thing, put a lot of pressure on Fnatic on Train. We saw JW back on the AWP more, again, we talked about the whole Olaf thing, more than I expected on the second half, and I wondered if that was because they were behind, because they had to go back to
more than puts the pressure on for them. They've just lost their map. That's I think statistically their best map in terms of winning percentages, and I think Train's actually their worst. So if you're looking at it like that, this puts a lot of pressure on them. There was one key player for Fnatic that was didn't arrive whatsoever. That's Flusher. I think he finished the entire game on 8 frags. And when you have a player like that, he's normally very high impact, and now calling for you, you can't actually turn up on the server whatsoever. It's quite worrying for them going forward. We kind of discussed that role of him being the caller now, whether he's kind of fitting into it. Or maybe that game didn't arrive whatsoever. Maybe he needs to step up a lot more. But Train's going to be very interesting indeed. Obviously, EnVyUs have something up their sleeve. We don't rely on them as being the world's best Train team, as you mentioned before, but obviously it's something they've probably been working on. And so
this puts a lot of pressure on Olaf Meister for the next game.
That's what I was thinking.
He's always the guy on Train, especially on their T side. It all stems from what he does. So he is a fantastic player. He might be the best player again. So if he can turn up, he gives them a chance at least, because I'm not as sold that it's definitely EnVyUs. I'm going to favor it to them, but that's the thing. I mean, for Fnatic, that's a positive. At least this isn't like the map pick of EnVyUs and then they're going to cash themselves, or they're going straight to Inferno or something. At least there's some wiggle room, but Fnatic needs to really... It can't be that Fnatic that turns up. Just even in terms of pure killing power, they were way off base there.
Yeah, well, and James kind of touched on it a little bit before we headed over to the desk, was that they just couldn't get map control. They were getting pushed back in a lot of areas. They weren't winning the simple duels even with execution.
On their CT side as well, they didn't have the money to actually start going for the aggressive plays. we saw EnVyUs do a lot of that. They had like decent money to work with, and they could actually get themselves into like favorable situations by pushing into underpass and stuff like that. But Fnatic just never had the economy to actually get built upon. So it's kind of similar. The game just kind of snowballed out of their control. They didn't really have the opportunity. It was too high risk. Like, had they lost those rounds, and when you have no money to play with, going in and trying to take sort of unfavorable situations can actually be really devastating for the team. So you never really saw them get rolling in terms of the money as well. So a lot to work on going forward. It's going to be a very interesting game. Like Duncan said, if that Fnatic are in the second map, which I kind of feel like they will be. It wasn't a Fnatic I've ever seen before, to be honest. That was very poor.
That's why you saw, though, when you try it, and they've adopted that EnVyUs style of where you do all these force buys.
Yeah.
There was 2 or 3 times in the game where they had like an okay buy, and you were like, if they win this round, they're back in it. And they lost nearly all of those.
Yeah.
And so that's really what broke their back entirely, because not only did you lost the rounds coming into that, but then you do the force buy, and now you're going to be done for the next 2 if you lose the next. So it puts a lot of pressure. You have to get those frags on that round. You can't play the game, whereas before, it's not that Fnatic didn't used to force buy before, but it was a bit more tempered. It's like they picked a couple of spots. So like, in these ones, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll do the save. We'll do the double save, whatever it is to set up for a proper scenario again. So you're going to see this from this new Fnatic. Even when they're a fantastic team, some games they might win tournaments like they did before, but there'll be these tournaments like this, like with the old EnVyUs, where when you're losing and then you're doing that economic pressure to yourself, it'll snowball the game for the opponent.
Yeah.
One of the things that I said we should touch on a little bit, obviously we're between maps now, we didn't get to do it before the game. Just Crims in general, though, not known for spectacular gameplay. Last 3 tournaments of 2015, he was sort of back to where he was at the start of the year, though, with efficiency and being able to lock down solo sites. Train, they often anchor a single man on the individual, on the B site and get that quick rotation through Z connector, quick rotation map in general. But I mean, just with Flusha kind of being weighed down with in-game leading, how much do they need Crims to go back to that form?
I mean, for me, you obviously start in Fnatic with Olofmeister. He's so good, he's the star. But for me, it's when Olofmeister and Crims are both playing well, you're very rarely going to see them lose those games. That combo, especially because they work on different parts of the map, different roles within the game. So you have that very stable presence of Flusha, intelligent, playing around people. It gives Olofmeister the freedom to go and be crazy and kill people. I always say with Olofmeister, is a bit more tempered. It's like they picked a couple of spots. So like, in these ones, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll do the save. We'll do the double save, whatever it is to set up for a proper scenario again. So you're going to see this from this new Fnatic. Even when they're a fantastic team, some games they might win tournaments like they did before, but there'll be these tournaments like this, like with the old EnVyUs, where when you're losing and then you're doing that economic pressure to yourself, it'll snowball the game for the opponent.
Yeah.
One of the things that I said we should touch on a little bit, obviously we're between maps now, we didn't get to do it before the game. Just Crims in general, though, not known for spectacular gameplay. Last 3 tournaments of 2015, he was sort of back to where he was at the start of the year, though, with efficiency and being able to lock down solo sites. Train, they often anchor a single man on the individual, on the B site and get that quick rotation through Z connector, quick rotation map in general. But I mean, just with Flusha kind of being weighed down with in-game leading, how much do they need Crims to go back to that form?
I mean, for me, you obviously start in Fnatic with Olofmeister. He's so good, he's the star. But for me, it's when Olofmeister and Crims are both playing well, you're very rarely going to see them lose those games. That combo, especially because they work on different parts of the map, different roles within the game. So you have that very stable presence of Flusha, intelligent, playing around people. It gives Olofmeister the freedom to go and be crazy and kill people. I always say with Olofmeister, so actually someone was asking me the other day, someone who wasn't so familiar with CSGO, they were asking me, like, how do you define the difference between like just like a good player and someone who's skilled player? And I said the difference is someone like Scream might have fantastic aim. I'm sure he has much better aim than Crims. But Crims is a much better player because what can he do with his aim? He might have lesser aim, but he's so incredibly impactful with it. He gets everything out of his skill set completely. So
and he's very smart about when to peak, when not to
peak. So that's how you can define he's a better player, even though the other guy has more skill. So that's the thing. Anyone who watches Counter-Strike and thinks, oh, it is at the ultimate level just about shooting people in the head. It really isn't. That's something where if you can do that on top of being an intelligent player, then you'll be the Olofmeister. But otherwise, being the more intelligent player, being the guy who positions himself well, you don't need as much skill to get the same kills.
Now, switching over to Train, the interesting thing is it seems crazy to think this. It was this time last year when Valve announced right around X Games that it was going to replace Nuke and Command. And the first team that I talked to that was positive about that was NBK and Envy, who said that smoke executions on the map are really solid. How much time have you had to talk to the Maniac about just their general Train setup? Is there issues within it that you've already seen?
What I can say is I think they are pretty confident on their T side. They have many different tactics with different rhythm, so they could play extremely slowly, control of the map, and then decide what they're going to do, or they have by-the-book strategy, they execute right from the start. So from what I've seen on practice, it was good. It was there was confidence, obviously. Maybe what will be difficult for them is to handle the aggression of Fnatic when they will be CT. I mean, you can see Olof is being famous for just sneaking into the Olof spot, what we call now the Olof spot, getting the first kills. And sometimes EnVyUs can struggle as CT when they get picked apart and they have to handle 4v5, 3v4. That's where they would make mistakes, because I think on Train there is less individual, like they master the map a little bit less on the individual point of view. So what happens is that they would make more mistake when they are under pressure. They would peek when they should not. They will not cover themselves. They will have a less good communication, I mean, worse communication. So the deal for them as City is to lock down the map and to not allow Fnatic to put them into that kind of position. If they can do so, I think they have the good rotations. They have what's needed to have a good City side, but that's what scares me a little bit. I think on T, no matter what Fnatic is going to do, they have the resources to put up a good side. Now the City is going to be really the key part for me.
I'm going to throw it back to you again with another question too, because we had a chance for the first time on the premier stage yesterday to see this new round timer. Now, not so much the 10 seconds on the round, but the 5 seconds on the bomb. On a map like Train, where there's so many angles to clear out, and we're going to see these sort of lockdown CT sides, do you think that favors the CT in this map now?
I think so, at some point, because of what you're saying, because when you plant the bomb as T on Train, there are millions of spots you could hide. If you get an example on inside, you could be a lower ramp, higher ramp, you can from the connector. Even if you think some guy like Happy, who likes to lurk around, he could even lurk around and go CT base now if he wants to. You know, those 5 seconds, they can make a difference, gives you more freedom as where you want to cover the bomb. But yeah, I think it actually goes both ways. You could use it as CT just to clear more spots, but as T, then you could have a big gamble if you want to.
I find the interesting part of it is that on a utility-based map like this, you use so much utility just to get in the site, and now you almost have to use utility after to hold down the post plant.
I think that the new update definitely favors the CTs on Train. It's not like the longer round time benefits you on Train necessarily. It's not a map you can gain lots of map control on. It's more of a case of setting up, trying to work picks in the key areas. Like you can go towards main, you can go to Ivy. You can't really get control on that. You can't push the CTs back essentially. Once you're out in Ivy, once you're out in the bomb site, that's it. You've kind of executed it. That's what the choke point is really. So I think the round timer does definitely, the bomb timer, does definitely favor the CTs, because they actually have that extra 5 seconds to come back into the round. And the whole thing about Train as well, when the bomb was normally down before, like Maniac was saying, it's such a T-favored situation. There's so many different areas to check now. You've got Heaven, you've got like 6 different trains to actually look behind, and then you've got E-Box, and it's just such a mind game. It's so difficult in the 1v1s for the CT.
The thing is, though, that plays the other way as well, kind of like Maniac said, because then you think to yourself, okay, well, if the timer means that you're going to use up all the utilities to take the site, now the teams who can take a site without having to throw every flash, without having to throw all the smokes, and they don't just dump the smokes down immediately as soon as they get the bomb down and kind of limit with the other, if they can save them, those are going to be extra valuable
this is
while someone's checking
now.
every single area. So even though I don't like the overall change as much, I think it takes away from some of the advantages terrorists had. It does mean that if the more intelligent terrorist teams, they can actually get a little edge there. So there's something they can do there.
All right, well, we got about 30 seconds to get back into this map. Of course, Envy have a very big lead, having stolen Mirage in some ways. Do we think this is now going to go 2-0? Has anyone changed their predictions, Maniac?
Well, I was going for 2-1, but I really didn't know what map could go. I mean, from now on, this could be a 2-0 potentially, quite clearly, and I'm hoping for this, obviously.
Yeah.
It just depends whether Fnatic wake up now. That's obviously the first map of the tournament, maybe getting a little bit warmed up. They need to win this map, obviously, to go forward. Let's see what they bring to the table. I still think they can do it. I don't think this is over yet, but I'll stick with my prediction. Let's say 2-1 Fnatic still.
Yeah, I don't think it's as clear-cut that EnVyUs will win it. I actually do favour them on this map, so I guess technically I'm saying it's going to be a 2-0, but I think it's pretty close between the two. Neither's really shown like mastery of the map. Both have had wins, both have had key losses, so I think this just depends purely on what Fnatic turns up.
All right, well, thank you so much, gentlemen. With that, we will send it back over to the casters, Dan and James, to bring you map number 2 of our opening series this morning.
Welcome back. So, time for map 2, Train. What are you expecting, Dan?
I'm expecting more craziness from EnVyUs. I expect them to have a pretty good time of this, because again, for me, some of the key players to step up for Fnatic weren't really delivering what they weren't warm in map number 1, but they are they're professionals. They've been in positions like this before. They should be comfortable with being able to just turn it on and get in the moment and bring the pain, because Olofmeister needs to step it up, I think, for them to win this map.
Historically, Train has been a strong map for Olofmeister, although times change. We'll see if he's going to do a good performance here today. Obviously, early on, the days of him just charging out of team main, I think people are used to that now, so we're not expecting that, but we'll see what EnVy have to offer. I guess we are in the knife round. Indeed, we are.
Knife. Okay, so
I sold most of my knives, Dan.
That's good. You should sell all your skins.
I bought stickers with them.
You to get rid of all your possessions, James, and lead a life of purity.
No.
Okay.
I saw a bunch of monks in Las Vegas, actually. I saw like 5 monks in Las Vegas.
That's not really the right place.
I think they were lost, Dan. Unless they were like the Shaolin monks doing, you know, a show with like knives, basically, you know, those swords and things. Yeah, I sold almost all my knives and bought stickers with them.
You bought stickers?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing with your life, James?
I bought 4 Titan stickers yesterday. They were like £5 each, and now they're £8 something. Who knows where they'll be later on?
Who knows?
I've got loads of Hellraiser stickers. I have a Fnatic sticker as well, which I have not put on anything yet. I don't have many.
To me, these aren't decisions.
I have an EnVy sticker on my Negev.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, but every time NBK mentions Call of Duty, I scratch a bit off.
Oh dear.
Shout out to Hastro though. I think he's tuned in, watching his team with a great performance. Looking good for a potential 2-0 here. I wonder what the psychological impact of that performance is, the previous map on Fnatic, because they were dominated.
What is this? What's that next level? What's going on there?
What did I miss?
They went all ET. They're just touching fingers. Happy and Kenny S. Just full ET mode. I'm quite confused.
Where's the bicycle with the basket?
Yeah, right. I'm quite confused. However, we shall see now the pistol round commence between these two sides. Of course, if you missed map 1, EnVyUs handily dispatched Fnatic on Mirage. Mirage definitely wasn't a good look for Fnatic. Can they turn things around? We've got a Molotov and a flashbang on Flusher, which makes me think that, well, I mean, hey, looks like they're going for the alley push, so we have to hold that fort for now, and there's a couple quick frags from Fnatic, so this is looking good no matter what.
So far, so good. Yeah, you can see the smoke's gone down to try and help the CTs defend. Headshots coming in from Apex and Happy. Man advantage for Fnatic, however. It's going to be increased with NBK being the last man standing now. They have no idea where he is at the moment, but he'll soon be announced with that P2000. He's going to get shot in the face as well. Down to 4 HP because those Glocks won't be a one-shot from that distance.
So this would be a huge sigh of relief here for all Fnatic, because this is the T side. You win the T side pistol. As long as they don't get loose to a force buy or something immediately, they get those first 3 rounds on the board. You deny those easy ones from the CT side. You deny that quick economy. You deny the sniper rifles and the nades that they need to do proper defenses, and it gives the T side a good platform to use a very wider variety of strategies, because you can get out into the yard very quickly if you want, because they won't have the weapons or the nades to necessarily stop you. You can do face, you can do more or less anything, and that freedom can be very hard to bring yourself back from on the CT side. And we know that you can definitely rack up a lot of rounds on the CT side. So this is perfect, considering Fnatic had a horrible start to this series by losing Mirage.
Okay, so we're just going to wait for Vigo to rejoin the game in the coach position.
He needs to be here, man. I mean, look, Kenny S is getting like massage on demand from Maniac. Where's Vigo at?
He's still going on about the massages.
It's important, man.
Although massages are pretty cheap in Minsk compared to London prices.
I think most things are cheap compared to London prices.
That is also true. That is also true. Yeah, it's insanely cheap. I think everyone's going to be on the massages once we get a bit more time in the coming days.
They don't have deep tissue massage in the hotel though, so I'm disappointed.
Well, we're back into the match. EnVy going for the fourth buy. Apex will be on the scout. The rest of the team going to be on the pistols. The 5.7s, the CZs, the P250s. 3 players on armor. Kenny S is just buying light because he's looking for the big green gun. Or the big yellow gun with a dragon on, if you will. Fnatic are going to be on a bit of a mixed buy. 2 Mach 10 players. That moving accuracy is going to be stupendous. 3 of the 5 players for EnVy don't have helmets. 5 don't have any armor, so those will be very valuable. We'll see if EnVy can play the ranges, well, the range with that scout, really. The other players are going to want to be up close to get those one-shots with those pistols. So it may be a slow push here from Fnatic, as there are many corners to turn around.
Wow, MBK might just get a sneaky timing on this flank. Will Olaf Monster look in time, or will there be players approaching MBK's right? No. Here we go. Fnatic will face both at once. À droite et la gauche? Is that right? I don't know. I'm testing out my French, James. Not sure how it's going.
It's not le gauche.
Oh,
À gauche.
à gauche. My bad. I got the first one right.
You could just say à droite, à gauche.
Okay. All right. Well, looks like Fnatic are cleaning up house at the moment. They're moving forwards on both bomb sites. The bomb will be planted on the A site. Oh, that's a great shot there. Felt that one, but that's not going to help too much, it would seem. It'd be great if Apex could keep his scout alive. What do you think the odds are of that, James?
4-1.
4-1.
I don't know. I'm just saying random odds. Happy, will he be able to pick up a weapon? Perhaps. He's holding an angle towards the B bomb site. I'm wondering if he's even safe there with 6 HP. He probably is, actually. I know, thanks to 3 clicks, Philip, we learned that the bomb radius is circular, as a radius normally is. He's a bit close, though. I'm wondering now if he's going to die. Is he going to die? Yes, he is going to die. See, my estimations were very good. He was unable to survive, so EnVy will get wiped out on their 4th buy, and one would expect an eco to come in, as not much was achieved in that round. Dad.
What's up? All right, that's the throw. Right, okay. So, 2-0 is the score. We will see Fnatic now up against just a
What is this
BT50s.
picture of JW? That's disgusting. I don't want to see that.
It's like I've read the books, but I think that's Voldemort. I think I only watched one of the movies.
That's nasty. It's nasty.
Don't know why you would use that picture. Anyway, this should be a pretty easy round for Fnatic. Bit of a nothing round. Typically these are just junk time, but when it's a team like EnVyUs, you never quite know what they can be capable of with pistols, especially in the A yard. There's so many different places to peek, so much cover to abuse, so many spots to turn the attention of the Fnatic players towards them to only be shot in the back. But it looks like they are able to slowly shut this one down. Looks a little bit sketchy to begin with, but 3-0 as expected now for Fnatic. So they've done the 3-0, they've built the bank. This is where it gets interesting, because now they can just throw all kinds of strategies at EnVyUs, and it's going to be very hard initially for EnVyUs to adapt and keep their economies secure.
Well, let's see if Fnatic can break the buy of EnVy. This is momentum that they will sorely need for confidence, among other things. Again, if you are just joining us, there was a supremely effective game from EnVy in the previous round, where they pretty much where they dominated from start to finish. So Fnatic are going to want to take control once again. You can see the coordination is in for Fnatic. Got that double nade coming in towards the end there in case somebody's holding an angle with an AWP. Going to try and pop out perhaps later on. But nobody home for now. EnVy are playing fairly far back on B. Those close rotation times, happy close to connector. They've got NVK moving around the bomb train. There are some interesting sneaky angles if you can keep control of upper B.
Oh,
you can see the boost coming in there, just in case anybody's standing on a train. As you can see, JW is ready and waiting, and they've got time on the clock to do this. They know Happy likes to move around, and Happy is indeed in the vicinity.
Yeah, that's one of the things. There's like small nuances that, if you're not, let's say, used to the European region, or maybe it doesn't happen as much in your region, you get caught off by that, and that could just be almost like that could then turn into like 2 or 3 rounds for that team, like these small little advantages. But the push will come in onto the B-bomb side in the end from Fnatic, and let's see how good this one is going to be. EnVyUs were very patient. NBK is able to pick up 1 frag from the middle of the yard, so that's going to slow the approach. Happy goes straight through the smoke, straight around. He's not able to find very much though, but Apex is straight on in, and he almost gets the 3rd kill there as well. 4 HP and 10 left on the Fnatic side on the 2 remaining players. This is very, very difficult, but Flusher with a fast shot on the AWP is going to take down Kenny S, leaving things on the shoulders of Kiyoshima, the very capable Frenchman of the EnVyUs side. But what is he going to be able to pull off in this position? He's got only a single flash, and Flusher is lurking further forwards through the yard. Kiyoshima's going to pick up the AWP, and he's just going to get out of there, in fact. He doesn't realize, I guess, how low they are, and he's going to just do the safe play, the guaranteed AWP pickup at the very least, but EnVyUs will be on the eco otherwise.
What a precarious round for both teams. The bomb carrier got taken down, and the bomb bounced all the way to the middle of the side of the bomb train, which is a very vulnerable position to have to go and retrieve the bomb. EnVy charging through the smoke with not 1 but 2 players. Oh, the AWP's been lost as well. That's brutal.
Whoopsie daisy.
Apex coming in almost with the 3-man there. That could have change things if he got that last kill, however, it was not to be.
Yeah.
So 4-0, very good start for Fnatic.
Yeah, it's a really good start, and we'll see the force buy regardless. So that's quite interesting to see. Actually, well, I guess it should be a quasi buy actually, because they've got their $2,900 on the round loss there, and I guess they've spent in the region of 1,500. So they won't have the most amazing money in the next round, to be honest. That's kind of like you really want to be able to buy AWPs and a huge amount of grenades on this map. But EnVyUs in the next round are going to have to do it with a little less. But that's also because on these force buy or these quasi-buy situations, they know that their odds to keep the economy down of their opponents is good because they're so skilled individually. And sometimes they can just win the rounds from these positions as well. So you can't actually say that for a team this skilled, that going for the less economical play is as risky as it would be for a lesser team.
I like the shoulder peek that we saw earlier on from NBK. He knows there are players within his vicinity moving away so he doesn't get naded and then smoking it off to try and ruin the timing of Fnatic, who seem hell-bent on taking the B bomb site now. NBK could be in a lot of trouble. Look at JW's position. He just does not give a monkeys, does he? Gotta love the way he plays so audaciously. NBK comes in for the surprise, but too many targets. Not sure which one to aim at. Krim's going to be covering JW's angle. Lots of information for EnVyUs. You'll see all those dots on the radar, but now they are on the wrong end of the choke points. Got one player in pretty close. Let's see if he can do anything. I think that's Happy. Of course it's Happy with this sneaky position. Is Krim's going to overextend?
Oh, wow. Happy going full Predator mode there, but he can't. He got eaten by the alien. And we'll have Apex able to kill Olofmeister just for a little quick extra pickup of the AK. And there's another reason why you can also justify this force buy, because on top of the odds for them to get damaged with their skill, or the quasi buy rather, they can have a spot like this where it's very realistic. They can save a weapon, so they can pick up some extra value that you could argue they would have lost by going less economic and buying up the pistol armor. So Fnatic claiming yet another round. Here is number 5. And EnVyUs, what are they going to show for themselves this time around? Let's have a look at their money. Never mind.
Money will be back
Their
in
money
about
will be back.
20 seconds or so.
We'll get there eventually, James. I don't think that they... I think... just let me see if I can do the math. I think the estimate would be like 4,500 that they should have had. And assuming, the AK picked up... Okay, they were able to actually... They had a bit more than that, actually. So I miscalculated. But you can see Happy has no armor, and there's no helmets on anybody, which won't actually matter against the AKs, but still. Cutting corners is something you have to do as one of the best teams in the world.
Okay, so...
Well,
my screen's died. Back to you, Dan.
well, MBK is about to get challenged here. They might just line up, and looks like we'll go straight to Apex here on the A side of the map, where we will find the kill onto Flusher. But unfortunately for EnVyUs, this is probably a safe situation. They don't have anyone in position. They don't want to be funneling through the choke points. They've given up too much time for Fnatic to move forward in the yard. And look how easy the engagements can be here. Krim's getting a very forward kill. In fact, EnVyUs are still trying to go for this instead of going for the full save. And in doing so, they are going to lose a few players. It is kind of okay due to the fact that if they do survive with at least 2, and again, that situation is they already have the max loss bonus of $3,400. If they survive with at least 2 players, the first 2 engagements don't go so well, then they can fall back, and those 2 players can drop weapons, and they can still have a buy.
Ooh, oh
Dear, this is very awkward. They need to survive with 2 players. It's very important, and looks like they'll be able to do so. So
both the AWPs surviving as well is humongous, based on the nature of Train, of course, with those long channels. That is fantastic news for Envy. But what's not fantastic news is a big fat 0 on the scoreboard for them.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the round? They've mustered a buy with more M4s, lots of nades actually, which is great. Just the one diffuse kit onto Mr. Kenny S, Mr. Shrub.
I'm a fan of shrubs, like a good shrubbery.
That's great to know, Dan.
Yeah.
3 players moving towards IV for the T side, including the bomb, which we saw in the pistol round as well. So I can't remember where the rest of the team were, but it's possibly reminiscent, just with bigger guns.
Now, will they go for the bait play here so all of my can get a pick? Or are they just going to go for this? Kishima's on the other side, and it's not got an AWP or anything like that. And 3 players looking to creep from Fnatic. This could be a pretty big push, actually. And there's no one really providing proper attention to that channel. The closest guy is Kyoshima. He's just got a flash and an M4 though.
Yeah, it seems they're trying to make a read on what Fnatic might be doing, but I don't think they're correct. Kishima's going to be flashed out of position, but there's a crossfire coming in for the CTs. 2 frags for either side now, 1 up left on both teams. And we've got Apex still on the A site somewhere, but can he make any difference? Indeed he can. Crim's going down, he's positioned around the E-box as well. JW almost kills his teammate. Flash is running distraction, and Apex not going to be able to finish off JW there. So a bit of confusion in the Fnatic camp. The bomb's down as well, and I think EnVy will get their first round on the board here.
Yeah, from a coordination standpoint there, JW kind of misread his teammates, and he was too slow out because he could have gotten the kill on Apex, but then instead what happens is Apex kills 2 players. So that slight lack of coordination there, basically, you know, JW, you know, unknowingly, unwittingly threw his team under the bus, let's say. But, you know, that happens. It's very hard to be aware of. That's actually one of the most difficult things on this map, is being aware of every single one of your players on the yard, because there's so much happening and there's so many different angles. Various. There really is. So, you know, you can't really, that was the outcome. You can't really blame JW for it, but it definitely worked out. And Apex capitalized, and he's been so incredibly on point for his team in these on the first map as well. So this could be now EnVyUs with something to work with. And here you go, we'll see Apex making this kills. You can see how exposed he was there, and you know that was, you know, JW throwing the smoke, going slow on the peaks, and a second kill comes out from Apex. Big stuff there from him.
Double ops continuing for EnVy as they make their way onto the scoreboard, but the pressure will be kept up by Fnatic on the absolute full buy for the entire team. There's some aggression from EnVy towards the Ivy area as well, and we're seeing Flusher approach that position. Kishima's doing a lot of jumping, but surely Flusher will here, going for the pre-fire there, but Kishima was low rather than high. Kenny S is going to take a lot of damage from that nade, but he won't be too concerned with the AWP. Bomb left in a passive position towards A main, so that may give a clue as to what the intentions of Fnatic may be, although I think someone's going to have to go back and retrieve it. It seems that might be Flusher, who's moving away very quietly from the Ivy area now, hoping that his silent exit will keep those 2 players busy. Although Kenny S is in a position where he can try and bring an offense towards main as well, but moving back to a more passive position now. That may have changed.
Yeah, we got the bomb making its way from T main now, and JW is able to find a pick onto Apex. That actually can change the game plan now.
Look at the rotation from the CTs. They're pretty much abandoning the B bomb site. There is a well-placed Molotov, though, to stop any potential push. So that's a good decision from EnVy, but now they might be in trouble as they're on the wrong end of the B bomb site with this push coming in. Yeah,
this is going to be hard to make these shots, but Happy and NBK both get the taps they need. Now this is really big. Can Happy get something else right now? He can get a great nade in there. We'll do a bit, quite a significant amount of damage. Crims is stuck behind the bomb train. He's got players on all sides. There's Happy in with the P250 headshot as JW is now the last man standing. He's way out of position. There's no way he can get there in time to stop this. And that will be the round there for EnVyUs once again. And that was all about NBK and Happy just hitting those first 2 initial shots on the main push from Fnatic, because they decided to play really defensively, really far back, which means your shots are harder. It's harder to stop the bomb from going down. But they still managed to do enough damage in that sense.
Got to give credit to that Molotov, though, because that ruined the timing of Fnatic. They couldn't push because that Molotov went down as the 2 CT players were moving back from the B bomb site in case they needed to rotate towards A. So very, very good decision-making.
Yeah, now the double op continues for EnVyUs. And so far, so good. They've been playing very passively, actually. A lot of teams have, you know, played quite forward. You know, that was kind of the meta for quite some time. Oh, that's savage! Straight through the smoke. NBK finds it's just this kill on the spray. That's really gutting there.
You could say parfait. That 7 golden letters. Apex coming in with another 2 frags. He is going nuclear for his team at the moment. 4-round deficit, though, for the CT, so they need to keep this momentum up. And Fnatic are suddenly running out of money. I say that NJW's got 12k, but I think overall the team, this would be, if they lose this, their second full buy or third full buy in a row, which they've lost, so money doesn't grow on trees.
And the last couple of rounds as well, EnVyUs have been really hitting their shots. I mean, if you look at this round, we saw, well, okay, NBK getting, you know, some luck with the RNG there, spraying through the smoke, landing a headshot. That's not going to happen every day. And then you've got Apex winning a 1 versus 2 on the pop-dog position. So the individual skill, NBK with another smoke frag. So individual skill.
It does happen every day.
Yeah, apparently so. Every round, apparently. Well, twice in 1 round is pretty sick. But yeah, EnVyUs are feeling themselves once again.
So now we can see the Fnatic money starting to finally bleed down towards the big fat 0. The black is moving to red, so they might be in trouble if they don't win this round. Obviously, their loss bonus is going up at the same time, but so is the money of Envy. A perfect round for them. It's going to be great for their economy going forward. Might see a timing nade a la Team Liquid. Not going to do the damage there, but it was pretty close. We know how finicky these grenades can be in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's quite cool to see EnVyUs, staying with this very passive approach. Again, it's the older meta game was to play, 1 or 2 players much closer to Pop Dog and to main. But now, what EnVyUs are doing, they're really respecting Fnatic's ability to actually outpick them from the main position, and then they'll actually allow them into the yard a little bit easier. But Fnatic, unlike what they initially did, as you described previously, Olaf running into main, which actually would be very available with this setup that EnVyUs are doing. Olaf could just run out if he wanted, but they are respecting EnVyUs. So EnVyUs are actually a little bit of a step ahead here, and we're not seeing a fast adaptation, but there is a rush that's being set up here, it would seem.
But again, look at the timing with the grenades from the team, and their legs might actually be exposed, but Apex doesn't have the correct angle to punish that. I'm pretty sure their legs would be exposed in that smoke, but here we go. They're going to go for the push anyway. Apex hiding behind electric box again, getting himself some 1 versus 1s, but there are too many Fnatic players now. They're charging onto the site. We've got Kineas and Upper moving out of that position. Happy will be behind the smoke. Another smoke frag for Envy. Everything going their way at the moment. Kishima taking down Dennis, Flusher, and JW. Just Flusher now versus 3. Gets himself a 1 versus 1, but NBK is popping heads for fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, because Apex is finally Apex. He doesn't get anything really from that position, and he had an opportunity to get probably 2 kills. That looked quite possible there. But his teammates, he's still running into this avalanche. It would feel as though against these French players at the moment, they're all hitting their shots. It's so hard to deal with that.
Now we see Fnatic, because of their loss bonus going up, will be able to get another buyout, but Flusher's going to be reduced to a Tech 9. So Envy with great momentum. You can see NBK almost on $10,000. They'll be good for a while. They've weathered the storm. It is snowing quite a lot here in Minsk, so Avalanche is very apt.
Yeah, I haven't seen so much snow since I was last in Colorado and Aspen. We don't really get snow in the UK. Doesn't really tend to happen. Not to this extent anyway. But either way, I'm enjoying it. I'm spending most of my time inside, James. But here we go. Looks like Fnatic are spending quite a bit of time inside here as well. They're moving down with Crimson Olafmeister down into the inner area and looking for the opening pick. But again, Envy is playing very passively. They are allowing Fnatic to move into bomb sites.
And again, Envy are doing a good job of just ruining the timing of Fnatic with Molotovs and smoke grenades. And there we've got another one. They didn't respond. You saw Fnatic were trying to bait a response there with nades towards the B bomb site. Envy held steadfast and then dropped that smoke in. Let's see what else they have in the toolbox. Just the 1 smoke remaining for Envy, lots of flashbangs, but I think they will be relying on the guns instead. NBK with an AK is not a good situation for Fnatic, who start to move in towards the bomb site now. There's a first frag for NBK, got himself another 1 versus 1. The headshot starting to come in now. The Frenchman's got himself 3 frags, finds Olafmeister upstairs, but Kenny's going to steal the frag from him.
Boom, boom, boom. Ole, ole.
He's really relying on his teammates to cover up higher, which is where he's very exposed. But, he's able to get so many one-on-ones there. What a sick play. What a sick position there from MBK. And, going for the shot there. Missing it is JW. My goodness, the pressure. Not quite getting to JW in time, but, usually what, a lot of people like to do is kind of like a safer situation that's committed. That's still very committed. Like, MBK is really committed there. If he messes up, he just dies immediately. There's nowhere to fall back here. But look how well he handles this. And the point to the left of his reticle, where the little plank is, that's usually where people will go because they're kind of more safe from upper. But MBK in this position is relying on his teammates' cover, and it's perfect. What a perfect setup.
Yeah, the team play is very, very good. Envy playing hand in hand at the moment. Are we going to see a faster round from Fnatic? Again, they've got 3 players over towards Ivy, and they're moving in pretty fast. Only Kishima's here. JW taken down elsewhere. Down goes Kishima. Kenya's putting in work, though. Apex coming in with another 2 frags. Apex and NBK are savaging Fnatic at the moment. Kenya's hitting his shots as well, covering his teammates where required. Envy looking very solid at present.
It's so nice to witness. It's like, you know, watching a painting come together when you see EnVyUs. You know, sometimes you see stuff happening, you can't quite see. You've got Bob Ross there, you can see some stuff happening, not quite sure what's going on. But by the end of it, you've got a beautiful portrait, James. It all comes together, and that's what we're seeing from EnVyUs at the moment. All these players, all these elements coming together in a very beautiful way. And Fnatic now just on the pistols, the Kevlar. So the hopes for them are not high in this round, especially considering how well EnVyUs are playing. And look at that creep there from olofmeister, just creeping on up. MBK's going to get it though. Nice little spray down, and that is the end of olofmeister.
Yeah, Fnatic don't have much to offer. They've come to the party with no booze, Dan, and they're about to get...
I hate those people.
They're about to get kicked out the door.
Freeloaders, man.
By Envy. Slow approach from Fnatic. Envy just going to be holding with the guns, although they don't really have position on A. We might even see a plant here from Fnatic. Happy with an AWP now, trying to put a stop to that. Dennis goes down. There are a few people for Happy to find in this area. Deagle coming in as well as Kenny holds an angle. He knows where one player is. Bringing out a grenade at the wrong time. JW going to steal that and his gun as well. But not much to be done here for Envy. They've got so much money they won't even care to retrieve the AWP, as there are only 2 rounds left in the first half. So after a rough start, look at that, 6 rounds in a row and then 7 rounds in a row for Envy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite amazing, you know, once they get those full buys, what they're actually capable of doing. Now 7-6, as mentioned, it's still a good scoreline for Fnatic. You know, even if they only finish on 6 rounds, that's still a good scoreline for their T side. But, you know, let's see if they can get something else done here. Oh, look at that! Just very bold play from olofmeister. But MBK has been incredibly solid on this bomb site. He's been this entire series has been so solid. And they keep trying to challenge him. They're trying to break him, but he appears unbreakable so far.
He's had that AK for so long, and he's using it to pop heads for fun. Another smoke kill for NBK. He's still got 7 bullets in the magazine as well, but Crims is going to get some revenge now. Apex coming in, and that's not good news either for Fnatic. 2 versus 3, bomb goes down. Now things are evened up. There's a few smokes for Fnatic to dance around. So many flashbangs, mollies coming in. The nades just continuing for Envy. Flusher making a great play. He's going to stand in the smoke for the time being, but the spray's going to come in. There is no safe place for Fnatic on this map. Envy take another round.
They do indeed. And again, you know, despite the strength of EnVyUs, there's 7 rounds for Fnatic now, because you know, it might be easy to forget in light of what we've recently just seen from EnVyUs, how the strength and the dominance there. It's easy to forget that Fnatic already just crushed most of the first half. So it's going to be a difficult fight for EnVyUs on the second half, no matter what happens from this position, as we will get, sorry, the 8-6 rather, sorry. Now, Crims is on the AWP, which is an interesting one. When you've got JW, Dennis, and olofmeister on the team, so usually that would indicate that it's going to be based on the timing. And speaking of timings, Apex is running in. He's got the Nikes on, and that's Crims now dead. So goodbye AWP. For now, at least. Look at the defensive setup now from EnVyUs. They're falling all the way back after that initial push. This is smart stuff from them. Playing it safe on the 1 now 2-man advantage.
Happy with a nice angle on to main, and all the frags coming the way of the French side. They got baguettes for days. No call to be seen in the last round. 3-round lead for Envy. So who do you favor at present?
I would say EnVyUs, just generally because of their execution, and I feel like they can rely on some simple stuff. I would like to see a lot of yard plays from them, because that's where if you can really exert an execution advantage. If you play it slower, you're looking more to do with the setups. You're not trying to rely on the chaos. You're trying to engineer the rounds, and and trying to set up various circumstances for your team to win against the more rushy-based gameplay, which is about creating chaos. And if you've got chaos, the team with better individual skill and awareness will win. So I feel like that could benefit EnVyUs, but of course they've got a lot in the bag to work with.
Yeah, Fnatic definitely not out of this, but you can see the stress of the situation on the Swedish side, and Envy are looking extremely hard to beat at present. And I think it might have to do with the fact that they all have normal hair now.
Yeah, and there's Apex at the end. He's having a hell of a game, hell of a series. And it's cool to see Apex playing well, because he's one of the most inconsistent of the team, I would say. But of course, his skill ceiling is absolutely ridiculous. But so far, he's been annihilating his opposition, Fnatic.
And he's had a lot of rounds where he's had multiple frags in a very short space of time, and that really can crush a push, especially on a map such as Train, that just creates so many holes. And with so much action being fast-paced, it's going to be very hard to adjust to that for the pushing team when Apex is just coming and just ripping your legs off, basically.
And for a player like Apex as well, where he's very aggressive, for him to be able to connect all those shots like that, it's going to make him want to take more liberty. And that's really dangerous as well, especially if Fnatic are not really on top of their individual skill at the moment. Then Apex is just going to be in there. He's going to have no respect, and he can just completely shut down rounds. And then you've got this situation where it's morally a moral disadvantage for the team. Your morale goes down, and it's so frustrating because it's hard. Like, this guy's going nuts, and how do you stop him? He's just doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, but let's not forget about NBK and Kenny S. NBK's playing up. He's playing deep into B, essentially, on his own, and has, his decision-making, the timing of his sprays through the smokes and so on have been perfect. You have to give him a lot of credit for that. But also, Kenny S has been in the right place at the right time in multiple rounds where he's been holding angles for his team. Again, you mentioned NBK in a more open angle on the B bomb side because Kenny S is holding his upper. So it allows him to play an angle which is not going to be expected by his opponents.
Yeah.
Which gives him a bit of an advantage there. So everyone showing up, the Kishima's over towards the A side as well, everyone showing up for the EnVy side and just working together in a great way. It's really good to see from the team.
Yeah, I was loving those CT setups. Now we go into the pistol round on the second half. And Fnatic would really, really want to win this one. Of course, they were able to win the first pistol. Can they win the second one? We've got EnVy's Apex just straight out of the yard there. Straight out on yard. Now, will this be a bit of a tell for Fnatic that there's a lot of action towards Ali? Oh, nice pop there from Dennis. He's going to spot the next player as well. The call will go to his teammates. And this might get a little bit interesting now. Apex has got to do something. He's moving forwards. He's got to take initiative, and that's what he does. But Trey's coming in now, and the chaos begins.
Indeed, you saw Fnatic. They saw the bomb on Ivy, which they put 3 people over towards that position. Is it going to pay off for them? They've got a 2-man advantage at the moment, and the bomb is nowhere close to being planted at present. Kenny there with 2 fast frags spinning this round all over the place. Is there going to be a rotation? Kishima doesn't hear Crims shooting him in the side of the head. And now it's Kenny versus Crims, 1 versus 1. Both players with USPs. First one to shoot someone in the face is going to take the pistol here in the second half. Onus is on Kenny S, however, but he's got a whole minute to play with. So what is the play from Crims? He's doing 360s at the moment, and he's just going to move towards CT because he knows that Kenny has to plant the bomb eventually. Kenny's still not going to pick up the bomb just yet. So both players playing with the time that they have on the clock here.
The problem for Kenny right now is that Crims could spot the bomb, but never mind. They will spot each other first of all as the engagements with the USPs come in. He's going to get the headshot first. Who has been playing more aim USP? It's looking like neither player is going to get a frag just yet, and Kenny knows that he can get the bomb plant safely now. He spots the play, he can get the guaranteed plant. This is a really big deal for EnVyUs because even if he loses this round now, they get the third round AK buyout if they really want, and that is very deadly against what Fnatic will have at that time in the second half.
I'm wondering how many bullets Crims has left at this point, but we will never know. So, not sure if he has a kit. I don't think he has a kit either. So, I think Kenny's found a superior angle. He spotted a player, not revealed his position. The fake defuse coming in. More tagging as well. Oh, he does have a kit. So, he's just going to hold it. Is Kenny going to get to the angle in time? Oh, he's got half a second left, and he's taking the pistol for his team. That is massive.
That was a Superman dive right there. Brilliant stuff there from Kenny S. Test of nerves, and he's going to come through for his team. And after the first map, I thought Fnatic were, a shoe-in after that strong beginning to the first half. But now it's looking like EnVyUs potentially going to have a situation where they can just win this quickly in 2.
That is a monster round for EnVy to win, and now the charge will continue. 4 SMGs on the team, but JW is going to be running around as if he has one himself. And there we go, picks up an SMG, and Rex happy as well. So Fnatic not going to just lie down and take it here.
Love the movement there from JW as well. He's playing it very sneaky. And now this presence on the flank is really scary for...
Kenny's heard him, though. Kenny's heard him. Kenny was directly underneath him, and Apex is going to come out with the AK. Kenny had the bomb down in main, but he heard JW running, had to go and pick it up. or somebody did. Apex, in fact. So there we go. That's JW maybe moving a little bit too fast there, and the advantage you could say is back in Envy's favor now. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with you there. A bit too fast, and the spray for these Mac 10s mid-range is a little bit awkward, but kill still coming in. And there's a 5-7 being put to work by Crims. Now low HP is Kenny S. So big possibility here, considering that Olofmeister has not only an AK but a bomb. Olofmeister should be able to win this round now for Fnatic, but we have seen him faltering in recent rounds. This would be the round to be solid. And he's got Crims to help him out. A bit of a crossfire there, actually. Very fine crossfire. Very fine crossfire indeed. There's a lot of information to be exchanged between the two players as well. And Olofmeister's going to hear this. MBK is going to come around the corner. Olofmeister has to get the frag. How does he not get that kill? MBK is going to steal that one away. And Crims is going to miss the shot as well. Just one bullet and Kenny S would have died. Fnatic falling apart at the seams.
I was just going to say, like, if Olofmeister was able to hold there, I think he's the kind of player where he wouldn't be too phased. But to fail like that as well, where NBK's not even jumping around the corner to avoid being headshot, he's just peeking and winning the duel with a Mac 10. And Olofmeister, he's got to be sorting that, surely.
He knows that he's there as well. Like he hears everything. See, he got the full warning. NBK didn't have that warning. That's a really big round to lose. Really big round to lose.
And now Fnatic are going to be on the absolute eco. Such good work done there at the beginning from JW again, but then they handed Envy some frags due to just giving the positional advantage to Envy by running around and letting them know where they're coming from. So this is a good round for Envy to simply just build a bunch of money with this Mac 10. Happy's eventually going to go down, but he won't be too fast. 2 more Mac 10s in play, and that UMP is still running around as well. So bomb goes down for Envy, and they'll be looking to make a bit more bonus money. Apex with the great angles, take down Flusher, and the last player will be spotted as well. And Apex going to come in from the back. So 12-6, Envy with double the score of Fnatic. You have to favour the 2-0 here.
Yeah, I mean, that 2-on-2 where it should have been guaranteed for Olofmeister and Crims, that is one of those highly demoralizing rounds because we know it and they know it, that they should have had that one in the bag. So they have, and again, it's a test of your, it's a test of champions if you can just overcome those situations and be present to the moment and try not to let that outcome affect you. I'm hoping that's the case here for Fnatic, as they definitely need to bring something back in this one. They're 6 rounds behind. The economy is with EnVyUs. And EnVyUs are also looking to go for a strong push. They've got the SMGs to throw at Fnatic in a very, very wanton fashion.
They've got 3 HEs as well. You can see the position where JW is standing is where Fnatic went for a double HE on their side. So if Envy had done the same thing there, then we may have seen a dead JW, excuse me. Tongue-tied. So JW got some information for his team. Olofmeister almost losing his life. Now, it's going to be hard for Envy to hold in a position where Olofmeister's on top of the train with 4 HP. And I'm not sure if Fnatic have the setup where high is going to be covered. Well, they do, but it's going to make them have 3 people over towards the B-bomb site, which I guess is a bit of a read as well. 50 seconds on the clock here for Envy to execute. There's nobody towards main, nobody towards Ivy for Envy. So if they choose to play towards the A site eventually, then it will be a bit of a funnel through Pop Dog, but it seems they are committed towards B.
Yeah, this definitely looks like that execute, and Fnatic have players in position. They don't have really the ability to use counter grenades, but they have players. They have the bodies. Now let's see if they get the frags. They really need to make this happen. Olofmeister can't get anything done there, and Kiyoshima's going to be able to take down JW, who's close. The frag's not coming the way of Fnatic with the setup that they had. Flusher and Crims trying to save the day right now. 3 versus 3 as the bomb is now planted. The clock is ticking. Crims is going to be going and spraying gratuitously through the smoke as his teammates move forward. So he's providing some covering fire there, but it doesn't seem to be helping all that much because Kenny S is going to connect a shot onto Crims. He's going to fall back. MBK just strafing around with the UMP, and he's going to get it done with the help of Happy. 2 players left alive for EnVyUs, and Fnatic now are on the precipice of defeat. About to be pushed over, about to be kicked over.
Indeed, and if they just eco for this round, then they can get the full buy-in, but they're going to go for the force because they can't afford to play 6-14 here, so they're going to do what they can. 2 scouts, the Mag 7 onto Dennis rather than JW. Oh, Mag 7 for Dennis as well. Crims with the solitary FAMAS for the team, a French gun, ironically. Here we go, fast push coming in, angle not being checked though, Happy just ready and waiting. 2 players down very quickly. Can he find a third? No, going to be running around with his knife, and Crims will get the frag. Kishima on the hunt, but the smoke has come in, and Fnatic will be able to move to passive positions, but they are stretched all over the map, as you can see here. 3 1v1 situations for Fnatic, or worse, as they are not in a position to trade at the moment. Olofmeister going to get a nice tag over towards Kenyas. That's a bomb spotted as well, which will cause a rotation from Crims. Going to be 3 CTs on the A site now, which is going to be a great help. So good information there. Olofmeister finding a headshot onto Apex, which is great because there's still tagged players. Flusher trying to go for the no-scope, eventually hitting it, but he can't get the follow-up shot onto NBK. 2 versus 1 now. Olofmeister goes down, leaving Crims alone. That's good for Crims in the sense that he's the one man with the FAMAS versus 2 heavily tagged players. So maybe, just maybe, he can do this.
And Crims is probably the steadiest player of the team as well. He's the guy you want in this spot at the moment, and there's the first frag. He's looking for the second now as Nate comes out. Kenyas goes for the peek. Oh, there you go. It's like a landmine, and that's going to be the frag of the round. 1 by Crims, 1 versus 2. So Fnatic able to bring something back, but I don't think this is going to phase the French side in any degree. We will see now what they have to bring into this round. They can really start to go a little bit crazy. I want to see more craziness. They have a lot of banks, so... Standard setup from them, though.
We'll see. Flusher back on the UMP, so Fnatic struggling. Even if they win rounds, they need to win it in numbers to get their economy in the right place so they can buy the relevant guns and still have their utility in grenades. Olofmeister playing around the smoke now. Not going to spot anybody just yet, but Kishima will make a quick appearance. They'll know that Fnatic are playing aggressive, at least towards the B bomb site. So we'll see how Envy reacts to that. Olofmeister, in fact, is the only person towards B. Although there's a bit of a rotation coming in from JW just to look towards upper perhaps, and Olofmeister playing a similar position now to what we saw from NBK earlier on. 3 people headed towards IV for Envy, although they're going to swap positions between 2 players. The bomb's going to be headed in that direction. So if Fnatic are able to spot that, then maybe they can get some extra men over towards A. Playing pretty passive towards A at the moment on the rear half, you would say, with Crims on the bomb site itself. Envy starting to move up Ivy now. We should see a fast engagement here. Dennis completely blind, still surviving for the time being. Could get himself 2 frags here if he pushes forward.
Yeah, Flusher in a great position, but looking away at the wrong moment. But that's Dennis straight in there on the back with that FAMAS. And now it's 2 players left for Fnatic. But Dennis did the damage to try to give them a chance into this one. But the bomb should be able to go down without any further hindrance from the CT side as Fnatic get themselves in position for a coordinated retake with the 2 players that they have left alive. But Kenyas is going to be taking a knife to the retake there, just slashing away Olofmeister. He is being cut out of the frame, and now it's going to be JW. 1 versus 3 on the hardest site to retake in perhaps the entire game. Across all the maps, the A yard is just devastatingly difficult.
There's not much he can do here. Basically, he wants to save his AWP, but he needs to do it with the right timing. Oh, is he going for... Okay, I'm not sure what he's doing now. I don't even know what he's doing. I think I can only imagine he guessed that they were going to be hunting for him on the B bomb site, so he was going for a cheeky run through, basically flanking in the sense that they're not going to check behind them for him. But they had a player just in case a sneaky defuse came in or something, and that was enough to stop JW from saving the AWP. So that looks crazy, but it had logic behind it.
Marxism, baby. All right, so we have the 14-7. It's almost over here. Looks like this is an almost an open and closed book affair between these 2 teams, at least this morning. As we have Fnatic just on the pistol armor now with a passive setup in the A bomb site, playing reactively, allowing EnVyUs to do as they wish. And there's not too much more that they can really do and have any, decent odds to make much of this. If you have the pistols, playing amongst the trains can be quite good in the yard. Once again, lots of cover, lots of peaks that you can make between each other. Let's see if they can be on point, though. AK is coming in now from the EnVyUs side. And Crims will be a bit annoying, but he will get the frag actually onto Apex. What else can we see here for Fnatic? Not much going on. Bomb should be planted momentarily as EnVyUs discover where the rest of the players are. And pretty simple round. Good coordination, good team play from the French players. Bit of chaos here right at the end, but and that's been put to an end.
Match points for Envy. Many match points versus Fnatic. You've got the jumble sale buy. They've taken the TV, the furniture. They've taken Nan's jewels. And they don't have much in return. The pawnbroker was harsh. Very harsh indeed. Because Flusher has Scout, no armor, and the refs have pistols and armor. This looks like a second round buy after losing the pistol. And they're up against match points. So one cannot favor them in the situation. NBK is rolling with a UMP, maybe having a read that they're going to have a crap buy. He's going to go for that moving accuracy because there's definitely the money on the NV side to buy whatever they want.
Absolutely. It's like they're gearing up for an outside aggression, potentially. They can make their way through. They can clear the close spots. But actually, you know, Fnatic playing quite far back. EnVyUs don't necessarily know this just yet, but they should be able to find out with some poking and prodding. Happy's going to be going down Pop Dog to try to discover where people are. Wolfmeister's now has been spotted. And Yoshino falls back, picks up the kill, and now the push should start to happen. We'll get the movement coming in from the French side into the yard now as they look for all the frags. And it's going to be Crimson opening things up. Flusher and Dennis. What? They are making the frags happen, but it's a 2 versus 2 now.
So now we have a CZ and a UMP versus an AK and an AWP. So this is less than ideal, to say the least, but with this close proximity, this is entirely doable for Fnatic. And now JW's picks up an AK as well. Again, it's just all going to come down to who turns what corner when. Kiyashima doesn't have the bomb and gets a kill onto Dennis, so JW doesn't know exactly where the bomb is coming from. Sees it behind him now. So he can get himself a 1 versus 1, but it's not going to be. 16-7. Envy with a extremely strong performance over Fnatic in today's first game.
And big storyline for me is that, okay, EnVyUs were able to do what they're supposed to do. They were able to turn on the individual players. We could see some great setups from them. They kept things relatively simple within the mechanisms of their team. And, you know, with the new roles that they have as well going on, Fnatic, though, they were not firing on all cylinders. I'm not sure if there were any cylinders going at all. In fact, in some situations, we saw a lot of rounds where the players couldn't get their game going. Olofmeister was one of the focuses there for me in particular, and that 2 versus 2 on Train was one of those key moments where that should have been a round, that should have been a turning point for Fnatic, but instead, you know, they came up short.
It's not often you see players the caliber of Olofmeister missing so many shots. So I don't know if it's just one of those times where it's, you know, it's an early match and he hasn't woken up yet, or what the situation is there. But he'll need to be sharp for the losers match coming up later on today. Whoever Fnatic may be playing, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But definitely, you know, Envy were playing awesome. Fnatic were playing under par. Something will have to change.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest as well, to some extent, so long as Fnatic are able to get through the group, it's fine, because this trend can happen where you get maybe a team that's as good as Fnatic. People aren't quite playing as well. It's group stages. They really turn it on. They peak at the right time. Obviously, you don't want to peak in group stages. That's not really you don't want to be playing your best game in the group stages. You want to be playing your best game at the end of the tournament in the finals. So I wouldn't make any too early conclusions. I think there's a lot of time for them to make things happen. But yeah, it's a bit irksome to see a player like Olofmeister showing inconsistency, because one of the reasons why he's dubbed the best player in the world at various points last year is because of a crazy inconsistency. That's what makes you one of the best players, and we didn't see that here today for sure.
But then when you have a bad game, you need your teammates to come in there and pull the slack as well. As you saw, Maniac said that Kenyes wasn't hitting the shots, or wasn't having a great game. But I mean, look at the monster performance we saw from other players on Envy on that Mirage game. So there's a lot missing for Fnatic at the moment, and hopefully they can get it back together for their second game. But Envy looking very, very strong, and I feel sorry for any teams who are going to be up against them later on today.
Yeah, I mean, that was really fun to watch. But it is time for a commercial break, guys. We'll be seeing you a little later on.
E-Gaming Bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
Welcome back, everyone. Another map done, dusted, another series done and dusted. Fnatic didn't really show up this morning, it has to be said, and Envy take that one 2-0. One round for Fnatic on their CT side on Train. And it looked like at 9-6, we might have a game on our hands.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was that just to talk about Kenny's pistol round on the second half there.
Yeah.
5 kills, 1v1 in Flusher, and he played it so well as well. Really impressive performance from him. It was so clutch as well. The fact that Flusher went with the full defuse, he comes round with 1 second to spare. That must have been like a big moment for you guys going forward. Obviously, like 9-6, pretty good half of both teams there, and then he comes back and wins a huge pistol.
Well, and this also impresses me on a personal level because Kenny was not having the best side of his life as CT. He was kind of struggling, and he was also struggling in the map before.
Yep.
And so for him to be able to pull this play now and go back into the game is a very strong sign for him. I mean, just on a mental perspective, it was very impressive, and he just played very well.
Yeah,
and he
great.
followed that up as well in the next round because they had an interesting force buy, double SMG early on, and JW got the first 2 picks, and yet still Kenny comes around and I think Apex got the first kill in return, and then Kenny got a 3.
I think it was Flusher once again. He pushed towards the inside bomb site, caught them with their pants down a little bit above Pop Dog. Gets first 2 kills, but they somehow got it back together and won the round. What was interesting, though, is that EnVyUs, for the first gun round, actually, I think it was round before. Oh, no, actually, they forced ball, actually, didn't they? They had M4s and body armor. Your guys kept the SMGs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was such an interesting play because they went towards the inside bomb site. Like, normally you'd think SMGs, you're probably going to have a difficult time there getting in there. But the fact that the Fnatic, after the force buy, had no head armor, it worked so perfectly. The fact you actually could go into the bomb site and just mow those heads down with the MAC-10s and the UMPs, for example, that was just such a cool play to watch. And that really did, for me, that was when the game was pretty much over.
Yeah.
When you won that round, you knew there could be almost on a double eco after that. It was
absolutely
pretty crazy.
The kind of round, if you win it, you almost guarantee the game.
Yeah.
And also what was interesting from NBK perspective is that he knows that Fnatic has a tendency to stay with 2 player inside if you show them that you're here. So what they would do is they took the inner corridor control, and they waited, even though it was super obvious they was there. Smokes fell out. It was absolutely clear. They just waited. And then they knew that with those kind of weapons, they would play short-range duels. So there was like one guy snacks, one guy spots.
Yeah.
If they would have stand like super defensive, obviously it would not have worked. But because they had shown themselves, and because Fnatic was heavily on the inside spot, they could take him short range, won that round, and after that you're basically sitting on 8k maybe for the next round, and you don't even need to buy an AK because they most likely are eco. So just steamroll.
The funny thing here is we saw a similar scenario to what happened in the final of ESL ESEA Pro League against Na'Vi, which is on T side. Fnatic's doing fine. They're getting the rounds you need to on train, but their CT side is what's actually notoriously weak. Yeah. And in that final there, Na'Vi are obviously a very good train team, and they just toyed with them. They'd have them every time they rotated, they'd go to the other site. And you saw here, Fnatic had absolutely nothing when they were on CT side, whereas on this map, if you can, that's what people like Virtus Pro have shown us, if you can get the strong T side, then you kind of just, you close it out on CT, you know, you have your standard spots, you know how to shut down the basic things. Fnatic, it seems like train's really not a map that's working for them.
Once again, they shattered their own economy, and it feels like when they're in this current form, when they don't really have everyone firing on all cylinders, as Dan put it, it's very risky to do that. Actually, those force buys, every single opportunity they get, is not actually paying off right now. They're losing most of those rounds.
A great example, obviously, is when they had the scout on Flusher, and he literally stood there. That was a very embarrassing if you're a pro, because he was just stood there, no scoping over and over again at this guy, and I think he got like 5 or 6 before he got killed. So that was just very embarrassing stuff. When obviously, if you buy that weapon, you're supposed to be getting tags with that all over the place.
There was another round as well that comes to mind, and the reason I bring it up is you mentioned Olaf, is that they play a lot off of him, and he was going to be a very crucial part of Fnatic's game plan in this. He looked a little bit frustrated. He was missing a lot of shots, and there was one round he jumped into B, took about 30 damage from the Molotov on the way down the ramp, jumped in, no utility in front of him, and Apex is already pre-aiming. He just one-taps him with the AK, and then 2 seconds later, the smoke comes out from his teammate to allow that to happen. Like, where was the timing? Olaf looked like he was trying to force his play way too much.
Over the whole series as well, you have to say, like, the guy to me who stood out was Apex, because on both of the T sides, I mean, this is always the danger when you play an Apex team, is if on T side he really has it rolling, he has like crazy single bullet aim to the head, so he can open up an entire site. It's not like he gets the first kill, then your second guy comes in and trades. He just takes the site himself. So there's always the tendency that when he's on these teams, he can do this. It's just you don't see it every game. So what's interesting to me is we've set up a similar storyline to what happened at ESL ESEA, where in the group stage there, EnVyUs clean 2-0'd Fnatic there. Similar scenario, they embarrassed them a little bit, but Fnatic came back, won the whole tournament entirely. So EnVyUs has done it again now. Will the tournament end well for EnVyUs? Will Fnatic come back strong again? We kind of got similar storylines set up, it feels like.
This is the whole thing, right? Obviously, like, Fnatic looking poor form right now, but it's just the beginning. Top 3 teams go through in the group, so there's still plenty of time to bounce back.
Absolutely, and we don't yet know who's going to be playing who yet because the second game's not done. We'll talk a lot more about this. We've got a lot more to talk about specifically with Fnatic and how they rebound. But first, we're going to go to Smix, who's standing by with NBK for an interview.
Thank you very much, Sadakist. Congratulations, MVK. This is your first LAN event of the year, and of course, it must feel great not to just start off with a win, but a 2-0 over Fnatic, which is obviously one of the toughest opponents you can have. So, initial thoughts?
Yeah, it feels great. Brand new year. We had 5 or 6 days of practice, just like everyone else, except that we completely changed our game style and leadership. So, yeah, that first win is definitely a good mark for us, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, and speaking of that change of leadership, I mean, to elaborate a little bit more on that, you're now the new in-game leader. I spoke to you very briefly before this interview, and you said you guys have been practicing for only about a week or so, and yet it obviously worked out very well today. So, I mean, it seems like it's going well.
Yeah, on the city side, we had like good momentum calls. We just managed to keep it rolling, and we were playing good as a team. And then, yeah, we're just changing our game style, and I guess that what made us surprise Fnatic that much. And we're still in the learning phase, so we just came to the event with nothing to lose mentality, because obviously we're trying to adapt and create new stuff. So yeah, we're just focusing on ourselves, playing as good as possible, and yeah, obviously facing Fnatic was just, you know, like the extra spice.
Yeah. And as the in-game leader yourself, how are you going and preparing for these matches? Are you trying to do it team specific, or are you just thinking about your own personal strengths with your teammates, or how are you preparing?
Mostly we're focusing on ourselves right now. As for me, I can just lead my team, and I cannot really read that well whatsoever. So I'm just trying to focus, get the team together, and not really analyzing what the others are doing, just on specific game plans or just specific rounds, exactly how they're working. But that's really mostly it. Focusing on what we can do best, and facing our opponents that way.
And now let's talk about this series against Fnatic. The map pool was Inferno, Mirage, and Train. Obviously, it didn't get to Inferno because you guys won 2-0, but you know, with Mirage and Inferno, those are two of Fnatic's best maps. And of course, they took away your guys' best maps, Cash and Cobblestone. So headed into the series, did that worry you guys at all? Or did you just, as you've been saying, just focus on your own play?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, those are the maps we mostly play against Fnatic almost all the time. We have a pretty good record against them in Cash lately. So that's probably why they banned it. And yeah, we just played our game most of the times. We didn't really try to adapt to them. But yeah, we feel confident on those maps. The veto system is very good for us because we're somehow a new team with like new strength and new way to play. So yeah, we're pretty happy how it went, and we were expecting the maps 100%. So we managed to just develop our game plan, work together, and get the ball rolling.
All right, and for your next match, you're going to be playing either TQM or Titan. And this should be interesting, obviously, because Titan, you know, they're your French brothers. And then, of course, with TQM, they're obviously a good team as well. So how do you feel about that potential matchup, whoever the team may be?
Yeah, as you said, it's going to be very interesting. Although they're French, they're not really brothers, they're more rivals. But it's going to be really interesting games because we basically only played TQM online twice, 2 best-of-3s, and the LAN game is probably going to be much different. I'm quite sure about that. So if we face them, we're going to have to take down one of the best teams in the world. They were just playing very good CS. And if we face Titan, they're obviously the underdogs in the whole tournament. But lately, they have been performing very well, winning very clear games, being tied against TQM, etc., etc. So don't really know what to expect, to be honest, facing against Titan. It's going to be a wild game. And for TQM, yeah, we're just going to have to bring our best and not let them pick us off early rounds and just in general. So we know our focus is, and we just need to play our A game.
All right. Well, thank you very much, MVK, and best of luck. We'll see who you play. It'll be either TQM versus Titan, and that game is currently going on. So stick around, and we're going to head back to the desk with Sadakist.
Thanks, Mix. And just to give you an update on that second game, the last I heard it was 14-11. It might even be over at this point for Titan in Game 2. That would level it at 1-1. So that one's far from done and dusted. EnVyUs on the ratings, technically number 2 right now in the world for obvious reasons. Fnatic's had a great closeout to the end of the year last year, but the last 2 series now that EnVyUs has played Fnatic, it's 2-0.
And that is the new Fnatic we're talking about here, the team that has won all the tournaments they've played in And now, including this, they've only lost 3 series ever, and 2 of them are now to EnVyUs. So I think that's very interesting going forwards, because we know beforehand when EnVyUs got to #1 again with Kenny and Apex, a dynamic was that they had this kryptonite effect on TSM, and TSM were the famous ones who couldn't beat them. But in the past, with the old lineups for both teams, it was Fnatic who won all the best-of-3s against them. So when we know these are 2 teams potentially that could be in the final, we're looking to what will happen next time they play. And I think actually something I've noticed in this matchup here is that I actually thought that the pick-ban phase for this tournament, the structure, would be bad for EnVyUs, because they only had 3 maps they were good on, and that meant, and the 2 of them were ones Fnatic won't want to play. So Fnatic could easily take out 2 of the strong maps. Now that's where Train's going to be interesting, because now we're starting to see some weakness on Train for Fnatic. If EnVyUs can pick that each time, suddenly they're getting favorable draws in the actual map
especially in
pool.
this veto system. This works perfectly for them, right? Getting 2 bans is like MBK said, like under new management with MBK in charge. This is probably a dream for him going into the first event. He gets to get rid of 2 maps he's not particularly comfortable with, and focus on the ones they think, oh, we have a real chance here. So it'll be interesting to see whether this system comes back. I don't think I've seen this veto system in any other events recently.
It's been since the start of 2015. We've got some stats we're going to throw up and we'll talk about. Just to make it interesting, though, if Fnatic were to take out Train, it's Cash and Cobblestone that could potentially still slip through, which EnVyUs are good with as well.
The thing is, though, of the 2, that's where I'm looking for Fnatic, though. I think if Fnatic want to gamble, they take out Train and they play Cash, because we know Fnatic's good on Cash as well. Even though EnVyUs might be the best team at the moment, if you want to gamble, if you've actually seen that you're weak on Train, that's where the obvious gamble there is to switch your 2 over there. But that's a question for Fnatic. Again, if they really think that they're the better team, maybe they'll stick with allowing Train through.
Match performance now. This is over the entirety of the series. Apex, I mean, 29 kills
when
in the
your
first
entry
map.
fragger's doing that as well, that's the key thing. That's going to have a massive swing on the whole game.
Here's the thing. He had 29 kills in the first map, and 9 of them were entry kills, plus 7 assists, I think. The other aspect that I look at this graph, and it's quite impressive, is that Kenny S is in there as number 3 overall in the series, because the first map, he was nowhere to be seen.
He got, I think, less than 10 frags in the...
Yeah, I think he ended at 11, I think.
11 frags, okay. But yeah, the bounce back on the second map and pull that kind of performance is pretty sick.
Yeah, and I want to point out about Apex is that not only is he instrumental as T for an entry fragment, but also I think he was the main reason why Envy could cut up a CT. You could see they were struggling both of games. They were led 4-2, and then 0-6. And then he was the guy going with a double kill, with a triple kill, helping the team catch back a CT. So he had a very, very great series.
I think the only reason Kiyoshima's not there because he had a pretty disappointing Train series.
Yeah, he was pretty silent on Train.
Yeah, so that's the only reason. He had a decent Mirage, to be fair. But JW, the only Fnatic player there, I think that kind of paints the whole story. Obviously, Olaf Meister, we expect to be in this kind of performance every single time. He had a very rough series. Flush goes without saying, one of the weakest performances I've seen from him from this year, I can remember, to be honest. Like, 7 frags both games.
And he looks silent after both games. And as the in-game leader, whether that's reflection, thinking, what can I fix, or am I this lost? I don't know. It looked pretty docilate from him, but there's your individual performances from each team. Like you said, JW, the only one even close.
I mean, docile,
yeah, listen, we can make up words. That's what we do here. Okay? Match best performances, you already touched on it. JW was the only one from Fnatic in there, but I think this graph just shows how heavily skewed it was, really, in full perspective of things.
Definitely MVP status for Apex. That's really, really impressive stuff from him. Both half, 50 frags in over 2 maps. That's kind of like God tier almost. It's really, really impressive stuff from him. And what a way to kick things off with MBK as the new in-game leader as well. Like setting 2016 up. They said they've been playing for 1 week and you can come in and just smash Fnatic like that, 16-7. Like
absolutely, and I think they had very, very well organized T sides. And when you're picking up on the in-game leading, that's probably where you gotta work the most on. You gotta organize the game of your team. But I think it was very methodical. He always knew what he was going for. And I mean, from the outside perspective, I really had the feeling he knew what he was doing. So that's good for the rest of the tournament. Obviously, it's only 1 series.
Where the structure of the tournament could help the other teams, because if you get a chance to play Envy early on in a series, well, they are a new lock team because they have a new in-game leader. So the first time you play them, you're not going to be sure what's going to happen, what they're going to have changed. But if you get to play the same team twice in the tournament, you might play them in the semis, you might play them in the final, wherever, then at least you've got that warm-up period, which you don't get in a normal tournament. Usually you play someone in a best of 1, and then that's it. You only get to play them in 1 series. So it might be a different look in terms of how the tournament ends.
Well, this is actually one of the points I was going to bring up, because Fnatic had set... Thank you, I will, Doug. I'm glad I have your approval. Do I have the rest of your... Can we...
Say no, let's veto this guy.
All right. It's fine. What I was going to say, though, is Fnatic had such a great end of last year that then the holidays hit. We haven't really talked about the effect of the holidays, because that's the longest break a lot of teams have had. So you talk about new look, EnVyUs, trying to make adjustments. How much has Fnatic put on? I mean, how much does this affect them? And now that they've got that free kick, like you're saying, a chance to rematch them, is this the best possible scenario for that reason?
Here's the thing with Fnatic. I actually did a podcast that had Semler and Lurpus on actually a few weeks ago, and this is a topic we discussed about Fnatic. So you'd think with Fnatic winning the first 3 events that they've had, some of them huge tournaments with 250k on the line, you'd think you'd say, right, well, they're the best team in the world, hands down, they're so good, they're obviously going to continue the next year. And all of us pretty much agreed. Actually, I'm not sure how long this will last for. Like, you look at the style, they didn't really have much of a style. They were just much better in terms of fragging. They were the team that was able to play this loose style, but everyone was going crazy. It was working perfectly. Even the Force Buys they'd win with Deagles. So we were all saying they don't have an identity yet as a team yet, even though they've won all the tournaments. And they're a team where what happens, this is what we said, what happens when they hit that rough patch? What about when they're in trouble, when it's not working, and then the Force Buys are killing them? Where's the system now? That's what they had with Prox. They had a system. So I think there's still questions for Fnatic, actually.
We just got an update. It was 2-0. TSM or ex-TSM, TQM have closed out that series against Titan.
Ex-Titan.
Ex-Titan. Question mark.
They won 16-14 the second map.
So I don't know what the final score was.
They were
Yanko says it was
14-12.
14-12.
So it was 14-12.
That's right.
For
Yeah,
Titan.
that's
so
pretty
it's
impressive.
Kind of 16-14 for
threw that away. Jeez.
And that was on. So this is what I was going to say. So now we know Fnatic will be playing Titan. That match was on Train, and Fnatic. We know TSM is very good on Train. They've beaten VP on it a number of times, but Titan still pushed it that far. How do we preview that game? How do we look at Fnatic's potential veto against Titan?
Before you even talk just about Titan, put it this way. I said this about EnVyUs when they went out at Face It, when they lost to Luminosity. One of the crazy things about the fact that EnVyUs is a team who could be the best team in the world and be like the dominant team is that we've never had the dominant team of an era just go out last place in a LAN, which is what happened at Face It. Well, if Titan was to pull off the upset, maybe Fnatic can go out last place. I don't think so personally, because I look at the map pool. One of the problems for this format, for ex-Titan, is they have a notoriously weak map pool, and some of the maps they might want to play anyway are maps that Fnatic are going to just ban out themselves anyway. So I think Fnatic, in terms of just the map pool, can get a massive advantage over X-Titan. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for them, because I think X-Titan's going to end up having to play stuff like Cobblestone or play on Inferno, and this is where they're going to get eaten alive, I think.
I mean, that's going to be an interesting one as well. So I think that's all we've got to say about this. We've got obviously the upper bracket and lower bracket going to be simultaneous coming up again. I think you two are staying on the desk, but Maniac, you're bowing off.
I am going behind Envy. I'm not going to be coming back here between the maps. I'm just going to do like full-time coach.
Nice.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for your contributions on the desk this time. And of course, we do thank our sponsors as well: eGame Bets, CS:GO Fast, The Score, G2A, and Twitch. We'll take a break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We've got the rest of the day still long ahead of us, and we look forward to you joining us for it. Thanks so much.